Damn, that was good. All right, Matt, this is your chance.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you rhythm up. Go ahead.
All right. Hi, my name's Matt. Please, begging you, if there's an ounce of kindness in your body for $1 a day, you can
UNICEF?
you can save me from this fucking hellscape.
Please.
Being single in 2023.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm Peter. Mario's gone on vacation, but we got a special guest co-host Adrian and a special guest Matt.
Let's go.
That's what guys that listen.
Let's get this over with.
Bro, me, you both, bro.
Tell them about yourself, bro.
All right, my name is Matt. My name's Matt. I've been Peter's longtime friend now. Adrian's short-time friend. Well, I've been Peter's friend, but he hasn't been my friend kind of thing, you know what I mean?
It's one-way friendship.
Yeah.
One-sided.
But I'm still here, still kicking after 15 years, you know? So
Hopefully
we'll just keep
changes.
it going. He hopes, but, you know, I'm going to keep it going if I can help it, you know?
I know, of course.
And I live in the greater New York area. So I've been a Cali guy my whole life, but you know I recently moved into the greater New York area.
Where exactly is that?
It's in Boston.
All right, tell them what you're doing in Boston. Why are you in Boston?
Originally, I moved to Boston. It was for work. Work dictated that I just happened to be applying, got a job offer, and they were like, "Hey, 3 weeks, can you move out to Boston right now, sight unseen?" I was like, "Let's do it." You know, and luckily, like, I mean, I don't even consider that risky per se because. Dude, the offer was like amazing. They're like, we'll help you figure it out, you know? And I was like, well, I've never lived like away from home like that per se. And then that far away from home was actually a relatively easy choice too. And actually it started out as a work thing. And then slowly just kind of, I had been like kind of, what's it called? Like cutting back on work and then just enjoying more the things that are, it's more now about like, what can I do and how, like as I live away from home, you know, live my life away from home, like discover myself, you know. I'm on my eat, pray, love shit out in Boston. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Tell them, Matt.
It's like what is it? It's this just really corny thing about this girl who reads a book by I think Julia Child book, you know, and then she just like it's a really kind of corny book about like self-discovery and you know. Like
but you're
discovering
with it?
it's discovering your own femininity and coming into yourself as a woman. Except
Coming into yourself as a woman.
No. And I'm not coming into anyone. You know what I mean? No.
He's single, ladies, in case you're wondering.
No. Double rephrase. Pause.
All right, so since you moved to Boston, what's the biggest discovery you've had?
The biggest discovery is and only moving to Boston am I able to do these things that I would never be able to do like when I'm at home. So if back at home, it's like, and for better or for worse, I love hanging out with my friends, spending time with everybody. I always like make time to go out and, you know, like let's say random thing like birthdays or something like that, or I'm always out. I love spending time with friends, family and whatnot. And so because that occupies so much of my time, like hobbies, maybe less so. And Boston now it's like, you have so much free time, and so one of the nice things about Boston is just being able to.
There's nothing to do.
It's I get to pursue all of these things, like put myself in different situations, like discover like new hobbies. So like jiu-jitsu, for example, it was like one of my favorite hobbies out there right now because it's so like mentally challenging, physically challenging, and it takes a lot of time. Like you have to honestly. If I were drinking as much as I were when I'm usually like at home, there's no way I could in like full effect do the jiu-jitsu thing, right? So it's nice that I can pursue a hobby to its fullest and not have to like be like fuck like because I'm doing this like I can't hang out with my friends anymore or I have to tell my friends no, you know. I almost like force myself to be like, well, you have nobody to, you know.
You got no friends.
You have nobody to say no to as much. So like you can go do this thing. And I mean that's just like one of the hobbies. There's like I read like a lot more often now or whatever. I mean I've always loved reading too, right? Yeah. Or just in general, I've always been fairly confident that I am like an agent of my own happiness. I know how to make myself happy. I know I would be by myself in any situation, anything I'm doing, for the most part, like I would be okay and I'd be happy, right?
You can't prove that by moving there.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I'm out. I'm like, what?
Hey man, I have something to prove, you know.
I mean, you didn't seem like reluctant at all when you moved. Was there any kind of like hesitant? Like, were you hesitant anyway?
No, none at all. And the ironic thing is that like it was so easy. It was so easy to move because everything was like so great at home. So my family situation at home was everything was my life was so wonderful at home. It made it easier to leave.
I need to struggle.
Yeah, not even that, bro. I don't need to prove
you
to
want
myself.
to cosplay being poor.
Nah, not even that. It's like ironically, it's like okay.
Siddhartha of Boston.
Yeah, no, I didn't go climb Mount Everest, bro. Like I'm just like, I knew, okay, because my relationship with my parents was so great, and I knew that they were they were taken care of and everything was good with them. Sort of all of those things, the health and financial. My sister she had just graduated PT school, was coming into her own job, like making her own money. Like she was really great with my friends. All of those like friendships were really great. There were no like regrets with friendship, or there's no drama or anything like that. And so I knew like I can always just like if this doesn't work out, I'll come home to like a near perfect like situation, a near perfect thing, right? And so and the nice thing is I still do like come home and it's like great, and I get to do that, and then also at the same time without like making any compromises of the other things, like the other hobbies I'm pursuing out in Boston, or just learning about like doing new things out in the city by yourself. I don't have to compromise, and I can do all of those things while still also having it all, and also having like a wonderful fucking like hometown. You know what I mean?
I know you said Boston a lot, but it sounds like a lot of things that you're doing in Boston you could probably do anywhere outside of this.
Yeah, I mean, and like Boston taught me that it doesn't matter where I am, where I'm going to be. I have a lot of agency over my own happiness. I can create my own happiness, and I'll be fine, and I'll be incredibly just really good. You know, it was Boston just because of, like I said, it started out because of work, and it ended up being not even because of work. Like I so half-assed it at work. I mean, I've always been like, work is just a.
We'll not talk about where you work.
I'll send that directly to the
yeah. And then work has always been about like that separation. It's just a vehicle for like money to give you opportunity to do other things.
Yeah.
But even more so now, like I'm so like half-assing. But the nice thing is that, of course, at the same time, like work pays the bills and then some, and then gives you like, with all of that free time, I also have all the whatever I want for nothing. You can do whatever you want, like go fly, travel, whatever. It's cool.
I noticed you said that you have agency over your own happiness. How do you create that? Because I'm sure there's hella people who do not have agency over their own happiness. So
I don't know. I guess, I mean, just, it sounds so cliche, but like trial and error. You just find the things that you like. You know yourself very well. Like I had always known that I really liked reading, right? But if I'm home and I'm like if we're going out every day, every weekend since like we were like 16 each, you know, you don't have as much time to read when you're just like dying, like hungover. You know what I mean? And I mean, you'll find the time when you want to, but out there it's like, oh, I could literally just like sit on the couch for an entire day, read, and not feel guilty that I had like missed out on something. You know what I mean? And so that it was like you could do it without guilt because you kind of force yourself to be 3,000 miles away. You know, and so kind of in like that, or like.
So you're blaming us.
yeah, I know, right? That sounds so accusatory.
Yeah. Got it.
Wait a minute.
I'm just kidding. That's true.
Yeah, or like even jiu-jitsu, you know, I've always known I'd like it, and I like it because, of course, like sure, it's like a physically challenging thing, and like I'm in like whatever, like it puts you in like excellent shape, right? But then also I just really enjoy it just conceptually, right? Like it's the idea that like in like a grappling context, if you wanted to like if two people were to grapple and combat, then it's like, okay, the first key idea is to one, like beat the periphery, right? So the concept is you want to like get past the person's like feet or legs or elbows and knees to access sort of like center mass, like the heaviest part of the body. And the reason is that like if you can access center mass, then you can control their body and control like the movement of it and have control over that body. And then from there, once you access center mass, then you can like work on like whatever it's the put somebody to sleep or like break a limb or something like that, right? So it's like it is of course like a physically demanding thing, but it's also like a really fun sort of mental game, and I enjoy like thinking about concepts like that and then applying that in like a real like situation. It's just like fun. It's cool. It's like the coolest like most challenging thing in a lot of different ways. Otherwise, if it were like the gym, you know, gym is cool. Like it really pushes you. You'll fucking work your ass off. You'll go through like difficult things like injuries, whatever, but not as much is it sort of like complicated like mentally too, you know. It doesn't also challenge your critical thinking like at the same time, like while it's going on. You're like, well, what
You're
the
just
fuck
saying gym people are just meatheads.
hell yeah,
Right.
you buff motherfuckers. No, I mean, don't get me wrong, the gym people will fucking rip me in half, but hey man.
Outside of jiu-jitsu and reading, is there something that you cannot do in Boston that you do back here aside from your friends?
That I can't do in Boston that I do back here.
Because this, again, it sounds like it doesn't really matter where you go. Because
That I-
reading you could do anywhere, right?
Yeah,
You could probably do most places because it's pretty popular now.
I guess then it's just more about like the amount of time and like energy you have in the day. Oh, I mean, yeah, it's like about like time. Like I just wouldn't have enough time to do everything I wanted. If I have access to all of my friends and family, then I just wouldn't be able to have as much time, I guess. I don't know if there's something that like I cannot do in Boston that
He's
I
just
can do
asking
here.
you to come back home.
I
Definitely
wish,
not,
bro.
definitely not asking.
I fucking wish.
I mean, okay, between the two places, right? Since you've established like a new lifestyle, you're more at home, right? You do jiu-jitsu. I'm sure you have friends there, maybe not, but
Yeah. Hey guys, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, please.
They're all back here.
and this is due to the fact that you moved away from your friends.
Yeah.
Is this now more of a phase, or is this now more of a lifestyle that you've like come to like?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. I mean, like, it's a really fun way to spend my time, and it's a fun thing to be like now, like also not just like those hobbies, but it's not necessarily a hobby, but like constantly you're by yourself and you're constantly stuck with yourself, right? Way more than I would at home. And you can sort of like manufacture that artificially at home by like going to a movie by yourself, but it will never be the same. The level of comfort you have, like with even where you go to a movie by yourself, you know the theater, you know how to drive to the theater without even like looking it up. But now I'm going to like a new neighborhood, and then I'm gonna go to like a thrift store, and then like even more sort of vulnerable is that like, so when you go thrifting, like I'm gonna like be wearing like just like whatever really short shorts and then like sweats over so I could try on pants. So I'm literally exposing myself, like being super vulnerable in a place that you're super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, then it's
Never
like
heard of anyone describing thrifting like
I don't think I want to go thrifting.
Yeah.
no.
How did you expose
It's the
yourself?
Boston thrifting.
No.
Must be a Boston thing.
I was like, hey, thrift haul guys.
Okay, besides all that, how hard was it to make friends there? Like your new friends?
I got really
Or
lucky.
you have friends there?
Got two. A shout out to the two of you, the two groups. You know who you guys are. Thank you for keeping me alive. Now I got lucky. Like it already had like the one like person. Like I had two sort of like groups or people,
okay.
and then from there you just like branch out, and it was done. I already
Oh.
had that before even moving, so I can't actually.
Oh, okay.
I kind of not wish, but like I can totally imagine. I've seen like other people talk about how like, yeah, I moved to a new city, could not find a single fucking friend. You know what I mean? Like I even tried where one was more organic, where it was like at practice. Like I've met people at practice and stuff, and we're even like we're like texting. You know, there's like a little group chat with the three of us. But like every time I ask them
Why you gotta
out,
look like that when you got first? Sounds like you're texting his girl crush.
I
You
don't
want to
know.
go thrifting?
And then every time I ask them out, it just like it doesn't work out. You know,
Oh.
like so they're busy or whatever. You know.
Really?
But they'll say haha like every once in a while, you know.
Like laugh with you or at you?
It's either or.
Either one.
It's,
Yeah.
a response is a response, you know. So anyway, that's like okay, I've tried to do the without knowing anybody, I didn't have any success or like too much success with that. So I can only imagine if I didn't have also the two like sort of groups of friends that I had to fall back on. Like I can't even imagine how much harder it would be.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would be harder, but I mean, I'd be all right. Like I'm good.
Yeah, I've actually thought about that before. Like
Mm-hmm.
moving to a place where you know no one.
Yeah.
If you can make friends like that.
I legit before moving Googled like how to make friends as an adult.
Shut the fuck up.
I
Did you really?
As an adult.
yeah.
It is tough though.
And then the Wicked How was like step 1, like think about the hobbies that you like. Step 2, find a Facebook group. And I was like,
Damn,
I'm not on Facebook anymore. Yeah. So the the instructions a little outdated, but
Yeah, I don't know. That sounds really tough. Like, I remember one time I was trying to make new friends for volleyball. So I used this app called Meetup. But like, I don't know. When you use apps and stuff to make friends, there's a lot of weirdos, I think. And it's like, I don't like this sport at all anymore.
it feels like desperate too. As much as it
Yeah,
should, it
really,
does,
yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
Bumble friends. That's like you can't even like get laid. You're just trying to like hang out.
Yeah,
Like,
there's Bumble Business too before.
no way.
Yeah, and I was
Bumble
like, damn.
business.
Hooking you up
Sleeping
with
with
deals.
the
Yeah, dude. Whatever. LinkedIn is like more. I heard like some people joke that LinkedIn's more of a dating app than fucking like Tinder
way.
is. Dude.
Wow.
But that's probably just like really like predatory dudes, just like, hey,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
what's
yeah.
up? Oh, dude, like I got this, whatever. Or like,
Hitting up that hot realtor.
yeah.
Trying to get free rent.
All right. Which of all the professions do you think begets like the hot that you've seen? So it can't be just like you kind of know, like you had to have a little bit of experience with it. Which profession has the hottest, like you know,
the hottest chicks.
or guys, people, the hottest people?
Okay.
Hottest chicks, I would feel like ball service girls. That makes
Oh,
sense.
I was gonna say restaurants, but that's like restaurant squared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, you know how much they make? It's like fucking insane.
Yeah.
Vegas especially is like
Bro,
a whole nother game.
you ever wish you were a bottle service girl? Like,
Just
think
standing there with your thigh highs and stuff.
think about the money and the like, just like the constant like boosting
Yeah.
injection into your ego.
I
Like,
can't even imagine that. Like
I know, right?
I'm not a good looking enough person to where people will pay to
Yeah.
see me,
Yeah,
you know what I
dude.
mean? Like
I'm like, yeah, it's like I'm just good looking enough that you don't have to tell your friends like, oh no, he looks better in person. And, like, you can't find a picture, like just barely above that. Like,
yeah, that must be a whole nother like just imagine that.
Oh,
Like,
dude.
your whole worth is dependent on your looks. Like your physical. Like that's pretty insane.
but that's probably like think about like celebrities, right? And that's how they probably fall into that like, what is it? All right, the immediate one, random is like, have you seen Zac Efron? And he got like a
Oh, yeah,
chin
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
thing. Like the dude was literally peak like male example, right? To like widely considered like in terms of celebrities, in terms of looks, like just masculinity. That dude was peak masculinity, and for some reason, he's still. And this allegedly, he still felt like he wasn't good enough and had to like supplement that with like surgery, so medical intervention, not just
Yeah.
like something that's less sort of more innocuous, like I fucking worked out and it's like, oh wow, like he did get more buff, dude.
Yeah.
Had to have fucking jaw surgery.
Oh, actually, I didn't see that.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
he looks
did.
completely
If you look
different
the
now.
before and afters, we'll look at it later, but yeah, it's like wild.
I mean, I see those kind of people sometimes. Like, I went to this bar club one time and I saw this dude and he had like a lot of work done. And I was just like, whoa, like BBL, like the freaking lips. Like, I was just like,
A
God
dude?
damn. A dude.
A dude BBL?
Yeah, yeah. And
How could
that
you
was
tell?
like the most recent. Huh?
How could you tell?
He felt it.
Bro, oh my God, dude.
He was like, yo, my
Nah,
boy.
dude. I was like, yo, this shit don't jiggle.
He's like,
Dapping the ass.
yeah. It was probably hard as a fist too. It was like, yo, you got rings on too.
He definitely looked like he worked something that has to do with fashion. And I think just like Zac Efron, people who have a lot of pressure on them, they have a feeling like they need to perform, and in order to keep up, sometimes they feel like they need to have some kind of work done. It's not only in Hollywood, right? Just think about like something very aesthetic or aesthetic based, like bodybuilding.
Yeah.
You know, steroids and stuff like that is huge.
Yeah.
And you do it purely for like the looks, and a lot of people cave in because they can't catch up, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, naturally I can't reach that level.
Yeah.
So therefore I'm gonna inject myself with.
there's a lot of people
something
on
else.
gear, I think. With
Yeah,
that
yeah,
stuff.
exactly. I mean, now people are more open to admitting that they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, versus back then. But
Yeah.
stuff, which another thing that's kind of weird too is people who get their work done on them. I've noticed that even the rich people sometimes get bad work done on them.
I know, right?
Yeah, like why? Like I don't understand. I would think that you would have enough money to pay for the right surgeon.
Or they decided they wanted that because they think that's what would look good on them. Because I feel like a lot of these people would go through like dysmorphia because they just keep having comparisons and they think they want this. And there's some like
That's so
you
crazy.
see those people who like inject like oil or something in their arms.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
and it's
dude,
like,
that thing's
and
nasty.
they think they're like
Yeah.
you know like because there's just this whole misconception in their head.
Because I don't want to, you know, I don't know for sure. I don't want to call it illness. You know what I mean? But it does seem extreme. There's this guy out here in the streets in Santa Ana. He has like fake boobs that are like this big. They're like 2 feet out.
Is it fake boobs or fake pecs? Like, is he trying to go?
No,
for, like,
no, he's like wearing a
masculine?
dress and shit like
Oh,
that.
okay,
He's trying
okay,
to go
okay,
for
okay.
a womanly
Yeah,
look,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's just absurd, right? Like you look and you're just like, holy fuck! Like what
Yeah.
made you want to get that? And it's funny because when people go extreme, that same look is all across the board, and it's nothing new. Even with like the new kind of surgeries, new kind of technology and science, like that look still happens.
Yeah.
Where it's like the really like high cheekbones and puffed up
Oh,
lips
yeah.
are extremely big, like chests. It's weird because you again, like for me and you and Matt, I look at him like, damn, that's extreme.
Yeah.
But then for them, they gotta look at it and be like, oh, that actually looks really good.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
didn't botch my face or like my look.
Yeah.
I don't know how people arrive to that. It's pretty scary almost.
I think it plays into like, okay, so we think that like all of these sort of people that are all of these vaunted people, right? Whether it's like celebrities, really rich people like fucking Elon or something, or Bill Gates, or like what else can I think of? Like anything, like athletes, right?
Bezos.
Yeah, Bezos. Any person that is sort of considered like part of high society, I think very often we like ascribe to them that they must be like gods, right? Sort of like infallible. They know everything, right? And then so we continue to think that like they are not also in a lot of times, right? Like these people either become rich and famous due to just one thing. So like let's say like Elon. I was talking about this with my parents today. Like you think about Elon Musk, right? Dude has completely like changed the world in terms of electronic vehicles. Has made a huge impact on sort of electronic vehicles and the environment. But at the
Aerospace.
same time, aerospace too, yeah, of course. And then at the same time though, like why the fuck are they asking him about like what he thinks about Israel and Palestine?
Oh,
like
yeah.
what makes you think that he is going to be able to come up with a solution where imagine how many like caliphates, sheiks, like leaders have like been in charge at Palestine, but somehow it's like, oh, Elon, this guy that we just is our current sort of like, you know, current like celebrity or current like most sort of popular person, and we just think that they can do no wrong, that they're infallible. But like, dude, or like Zac Efron, like, dude, we thought he was the most literally like the manliest person ever. Literally like the epitome of like what like the typical sort of like male should look like, or masculinity, and dude got fucking jaw surgery because he was like insecure, you know?
Or the
So-
pressure on him might have been
Yeah, maybe, or
a
like
lot.
that's even that. That's
like,
even
like
that.
his own pressure
Yeah.
to continue to keep being, you know, that sort of peak of.
I think
male
so, but then
masculinity.
like imagine, right? That's like I think that agrees with that point, because like if like he is the stereotypical male or like peak male, then that means that you should be able to sort of withstand social pressures. In fact, he's like caved, so it just proves
Well, I
that
mean,
like
when
we
you
put him up
mention
there
peak
and then
male
he,
with Zac Efron, you're majority like talking about physical looks, right?
I
Like,
guess so.
aesthetics,
Yeah,
'cause-
yeah, looks. I don't
'cause
really know
when-
like if people
to
thought.
be able to withstand social pressure as like peak male, you would need more of like a mental fortitude where it's not gonna crack you fall under that pressure. But that has nothing to do with looks.
I guess so, but I mean, he was so buff, people probably thought like, oh, he must be strong, tough.
I mean, you
Like,
can also
there's
think
sort of,
about the
like-
opposite end, right? It's like let's say the ugliest dude, like why doesn't he fall under the pressure to get work done? Aside from maybe you can't afford it, but let's say you can. You know what I mean?
But like most
what's-
people just don't think that way. Like most people don't take it farther than like guy, buff, tough.
Do you think it's like a guy thing, or do you think that's more of
Not just more like I think more so just like a how we sort of view sort of like celebrities or just in general like.
Because I know we talk about mainly males because we're guys, so
That's the only one we know.
understand
The only
more.
thing we
But
know.
but like women go through it all the freaking time, right? When you think about it, like I'm scared of fucking surgery. Like I do not want to go under the knife if
seriously,
I
right?
could avoid it. So when I see people go under a knife like willingly,
Yeah.
I'm just like, wow, you must really want it.
Yeah.
You know, or you're not scared. I don't know. Either that or
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
how scared you are is doesn't even compare to how much you want it. You know, because what's one of the first surgeries that you see is like breast augmentation, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen people get that when they're like 18.
Dude, like right away.
Yeah. And I'm just like, wow, you don't care. Like you're just gonna go get it done.
Yeah.
Like that matters more to you than anything else.
Dude, cause like I don't even dare I don't even deign to like approach to even try to feel what that feels like, all of those like social pressures on women, because like I can't even fucking imagine. It's actually low key like terrifying. Like I consider myself like a decently empathetic person, to put yourself into somebody else's shoes and to consider their perspective, right? But damn, if you just even think about like what the fuck it would be like to like go under the knife and then like after like breast augmentation surgery for like 2 weeks, you're in just like so much pain you can't even like get out of bed. And that was like by choice too. Like, oh fuck. And then like, why do you think you made that fucking choice? Like, I don't even want to get into any of that almost. You know what I mean? Almost like it's pretty insane and nutty. And I wouldn't even, as much as I would try, I don't even consider like that I would get even close to what it's like, as much as I would like try.
What would
Yeah.
you say is like the male comparison to that?
Height.
Height? Oh, really? Because
There's
I feel like
there's knee surgeries.
Yeah,
now.
but that's
There
like
is,
not
but-
to not even close to like
Yeah.
that.
Well, because there's for sure double standard when it comes to the beauty standards, right?
Yeah.
Like you're saying, like people are dying getting BBLs, you know?
Yeah,
Because it's a very unsafe procedure, and the double standard is also with men. Like even getting older doesn't affect the beauty standard for them. Like you can be a dad bod, and like you'll still have all these. You can be
Yeah.
a
I mean,
dill.
getting older,
yeah,
but
but with,
getting older, there's certain things like I think the biggest for males would be like losing hair.
yeah.
That's huge, you know?
yeah,
Like,
but that's like
but-
you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
I think I got it. While you guys think, I think the answer is
Yeah,
that
the answer. You found the answer.
The answer. This is the answer.
Yeah.
There is no male equivalent. The answer is
Yeah.
nothing. There's
Of
no
course
male
there
equivalent
isn't.
because there's like
That's true.
Like if imagine these whatever however many hundreds thousands of years, it's a patriarchal driven society. Ain't no way that there's gonna be no male equivalent. Like
Yeah.
bald, you could have the fucking some of the best like looking bald dudes. I'm thinking like Jason Statham.
Yeah,
Like there's
come
no
on now.
male equivalent. Well, we could try to grasp at like things that we're insecure about to be like, hey,
Make
like,
it about us, right?
yeah. Hey, girl, like you,
Because
me
this is
too.
guys that listen.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, girl, me too.
That's
like,
true. That's a good point.
does-
There isn't, but let's try to find the closest one.
Yeah.
That's what
Actually,
I was going for. I wasn't trying to find something that was
Oh,
like,
no,
the
yeah,
exact.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like
What's the
closest.
worst for the guy that can
for
even
a
come up
guy.
with?
Hair is
That's-
very common for sure.
Yeah.
If it's not immediately obvious to us, or if the answer is, it's probably not
Yeah.
even close, right? Like
Yeah, that's
hair,
tough. That's
like
tough.
you can't even like not even being buff is like not even really that big of a deal. Fucking
Money?
tall. Nah, I mean money. Like, dude, girls get with a broke artist that they love too. You know what I mean? Like that's such a common trope.
Damn, we got it good.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel bad for our female audience out there.
I've been like,
So nothing.
yeah, I've been so self-involved in my own stroke. I realize like, wait, you kind of got it good, bro. Like, you alright.
But on the opposite end of the spectrum, when we talk about looks, right? Do you feel like the more attractive female has less to worry about than an attractive male?
Yeah, for sure. Attractive male, that means you've like I feel like you've won. You're done. Like that's game. If you're like a widely considered attractive male or whatever, that's it. Like what the fuck else do you got to do? Like you have
Yeah.
no other sort of social pressures to worry about. Like or if like you were and double up, if you were like white too,
Yeah.
done. You have zero problems to worry about.
Yeah.
You
Like,
win the
good.
game.
You're
Like-
good, my boy. Like congrats. Like
Yeah. Louis C.K.'s like, I'm white and I'm a male. You can't even hurt my feelings.
yeah.
But yeah, that was a good question. Of like attractive women having less to worry about than
Less to
men.
worry about or more to gain either way.
Yeah.
Because if we're strictly talking about dating, because I'm not gonna go male versus female and everything, because I'm not here to debate.
We didn't even explore the other genders. Like fuck, that's like so far out of like our
I just don't understand.
purview.
I would like to talk about it one day, but I don't understand it.
Yeah, you gotta bring somebody else, not me, bro.
So I'll talk about it as far as like dating goes and the way you perceive yourself. Like, how would you describe yourself in the dating pool?
Not the best at dating, but the sort of like the thing is like I just fall back on it. I'm just lucky enough that my resume is like fucking like solid.
What's your resume?
Resume?
What's on your resume?
All right. Resume.
CV. Give me the whole thing.
Okay. One is I think emotional intelligence. Primarily in that I put in a lot of effort to be empathetic as well as self-aware, right? So the empathy is like you're able to consider other people's perspectives, like think about how other people feel. So whether in any sort of relationship, I'm always considering that. And I mean, like it goes beyond that into sort of like problem solving, right? You can sort of like combat a problem on all these different sort of angles. And then the self-awareness is that I'm always constantly asking myself like, the hard questions like, oh, why do you feel that way? Even for something as seemingly mundane as like by the end of the week, I'm like, why? And like I said, I've been half-assing it at work, and I'm like, why is work bothering me so much? Like, why am I even taking this home? Like, something is frustrating me. And then I realized like, oh, it's because like this whole week at practice, you've just been getting your ass kicked. And then so it's just you've taken that with you into work, and then all of these things are sort of compounding. So but anyway, I always ask myself those questions, and it might be for those small things, but it could be for much larger things as well. So I feel like I've got a pretty good grasp of like myself, and if I don't, I'm ready to sort of ask those questions, and we're constantly on that sort of track. And then I would say just number 2 is also like I'm a very effortful person, right? Like
effortful person.
Yeah. Like I remember when we were kids, like being a fucking try hard. Being a try hard was so lame, dude. But even when I was a kid, I knew like it kind of came easy to me to put a lot of effort into things and try really hard. So if like it is important, or if I find that it's like going to be worth it, or maybe it's not even worth it, still effort comes very easy to me, and that I have a lot of it to spare. So I can use up a bunch, and it might not come to fruition in like a really great way. Whatever, I don't care. I got plenty to spare. I'm gonna keep going. Like I am I'm totally okay with the grind and long term grind. And then I think third, and I think some of the best part of my resume, and it's not by like accident, it's definitely a very sort of concerted choice. I think the third one for me, and the one most important, is that sort of I like do fine and I do really great, but also that I uplift like those around me. I would say that's one of the things that I really enjoy about myself, is that not only am I having like a good time, but I guarantee you, if you're around me or you're within proximity, like it'll be fun, it'll be a good time, and at least I'll try to help you to be the sort of happiest, best version of yourself. And so that's like the resume right there. And then, I mean, like the extracurriculars, the extra credit, like, okay, fine. I make $150,000 a year.
Damn, I'll go straight into
like,
it.
It's not a lot. It's not a little. It's not a lot. And then
applications are open.
No, like, okay. And then also like, I'm 32, but like on a good week, like I'll have like a 6-pack or something like that. You know what I mean?
What's funny is like up until the like $150K a year, I thought this was the friend resume, and then it went into the boyfriend resume.
I thought this was the things he wished he had.
Yeah. And then I think the extracurriculars too is like, I'm not a fucking picky eater. I know we were talking about that today. That's why it came to mind. But like, gosh, like let's go try some food and really like, and the food is just a sort of an allegory for the rest of sort of life. Like let's enjoy everything and really sort of let's try to live a vibrant sort of life, right? Let's try all these things and do all of it. You know, the food is just a sort of one example of many, right?
This resume is like spotless. So why are you jobless?
I was actually about to ask that. I was about to ask that. Why is he single? You know what I mean? Like, I want to hear his answer now.
The why? I mean, that's so easy. Like, it's just like
it's not like you don't try.
One of the biggest reasons.
That's number 2. Effortful.
I think one of the biggest reasons is that like, okay, we've been going out like literally every weekend and not like doing degenerate drinking shit like every weekend since we were like 16, right? And the thing about doing that to honest effect is that when we go out, the goal is to hang out with each other and enjoy each other's company and have a good time and truly like spend time with each other.
Yeah.
And then so the unfortunate sort of like byproduct of that is that we're never gonna be going somewhere and be like, yo, like let's get fucking bitches. You know what I mean? Like, yo, like, oh, I heard this club has the hottest girls. No, we're like, yo, I heard this club has the cheapest vodka sodas around.
Oh God! I thought you were gonna say the cheapest girls.
I've definitely heard Matt suggest to go to a place because the girls there are hot for sure.
No, that was like on accident. That must have been in the like we must have been like or I'd already like all right. I was like, all right, Pete, we've spent enough quality time. I think it's time to
You gotta even it out.
yeah. I think it's time today, you know, or for the rest of the weekend. Maybe we could perhaps like look at one or two women and, you know, and we'll throw up some numbers too. We'll throw out like some
Emphasis on look.
yeah. Oh hell yeah. I love the damn, she bad, huh? And then just like we'll just go back to our
And then his story's like, last night was a movie.
oh for sure, bro. It was a fucking movie, bro.
So you're saying
Silent movie.
That's
the reason
like
why
one of
you're
the-
single.
One of the reasons.
One of the reasons,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, one.
And I feel like that reason is really only prevalent while you're here because you actually have friends here. And I don't know about Boston, but you know, it sounds like if there's anywhere for your dating life to flourish, it would be Boston, right? So why do you think that it
And
has?
I try. I mean, like I've definitely like now that I'm out in Boston and I can like put in more time and effort into that. Now it's like, oh shit, you might be like this older person now, but you have the fucking dating sense of like a fucking like 17-year-old. You know what I mean? You're so ass at it. And look, sometimes it's like part of it is like something. It's just some things you need to like put work into, and it takes practice and time, and you know, hopefully not too much time because God clock is ticking. No, but I mean, like, and also too, like, sure, whatever. Clock is ticking, but like, we're kind of lucky as dudes. Again,
yeah.
we're so lucky as dudes. Where while there is some pressure, it's not nearly as much, or it's just not as much. It's really not that bad. You know, I mean, you can kind of live with it. Like, you can almost like console yourself, like, well, even though like I don't got a girl or whatever, like I could still work on my career and I'll make a lot of money, and you know that might help you later to make like to meet girls or whatever, meet people. It might not be like the most ideal scenario, but like the prospect of you being alone doesn't get worse as you get older as much as it would like other people. Like it kind of does, like obviously, but it's just not nearly as bad for us guys. So that's also kind of been kind of like placating me to like be like, oh, don't worry about it. You don't need to try so hard. But like I understand, like it'll be something that I will or that I am putting effort into.
Yeah.
Because it's something you want, obviously, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I would love to be better at that. Jesus Christ. But like, you know what? If anything, you know, God gave you everything else. Well, you gotta have one struggle.
So I noticed that you.
Cut.
3, 2.
Drum roll, please.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
All right. So I know earlier you said that dating wise, you feel like you're still in your teens. Why do you think that is?
They say the biggest one is just the inexperience of like seeing how other people are when they're dating. So like you meet all different kinds of people when you're trying to date or talk to people, and I have no clue what they're thinking, or I have no clue how people are and act like when they're dating. You know what I mean? So like I don't really know other people's perspective that well of it's like when they're dating. You know, most of the people that have been around have been in like long-term relationships, or the thing that I have most exposure to is relationships. So I only see people how they are in relationships, which is, it gives me a lot of like, oh, now I see like what relationships are like, and gives you a lot of insight into that. But then when it comes to like dating, and it's these sort of, you know, I mean, obviously the difference between dating and relationships is obvious, right? So then it's like, what are people like when they're dating, and you have no clue what the fuck they're thinking. You have no clue what the fuck you're you're gonna do or supposed to do, and like I would say that's mostly it. Yeah,
Dude, it all makes sense then, because your resume is spotless for relationship.
yeah,
But
yeah,
you're
yeah,
jumping
yeah.
the gun already. Like, you need to do the whole courting and dating and,
Yeah.
spitting a little game. But he's already ready with the ring.
He's the right guy, but not the right now guy.
Oh hell no! That's like the fucking.
hell no.
That's like
He's always the weekday, never the weekend.
No, that's a slur. All right, that's a slur. All right? God gives his toughest battles to his strongest warriors.
From your very little experience in dating.
Wait. Can you put your fingers a little closer together? Cut the camera. Hey, cut the camera. Hey, show them how close.
That's my favorite thing about you.
Jesus Christ.
No. It's like, hey, don't listen to what anybody says. You're a good guy. I mean, literally anybody, everybody else.
You're like, who the hell say I'm not a good guy? Randy,
That's like a slap. That's like a slap to the face.
Yeah.
It's like,
Favorite
you're
backhanded
a nice
compliment.
guy. You're a good guy. It's okay. You get someone soon.
Bro,
All
I'm.
right. So
his
what
little dating experience.
what would you say is your weakest point?
I guess that, like, if you don't know what the fuck you're supposed to do or gonna do in this whole courting,
So what do you do though when you don't know?
Bro,
Obviously,
try-
there's like an
try
action that
everything.
you default to, right? Because of your lack of experience, how little dating you have.
like, either you treat them too much like a friend, or you treat them too much like you guys are already in like some committed thing, and it's like, bro, like, you read the fucking room, like, what are you doing? You know, like, and then, yeah, I think that's it. It's like you're either doing too much, too little, like, or you just don't know how to like think about it, and you don't know how to navigate. Just like, oh yeah, like maybe you could be just like, it's like actually totally fine for you to just talk to like a few people and be interested in those few people, and then you have this sort of like courtship, and you're going through, and it's not like necessarily that this is sort of antithetical to your goal of like, let's say you want a relationship or you want to like date multiple people. It's just part of the process, and you'll learn that process, because right now, like, you're lost in the woods, bro.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
And like I said, like, again, like, we're so lucky that, like, one, as guys, and then two, just like, if everything else for me is like totally stacked, like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that there's not as much pressure, and it almost makes it like easier and more fun. You're just like figuring out, you're like, oh, like, I don't care if I kind of suck at that. Like, I'm kind of like the shit, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know how you said that you're big on trial and error, and that's how you found your happiness in Boston?
Yeah.
It's just like figuring things out as you go. What was the time that while you were dating, you figured out, oh shit, like, this is not the way to go about it. This is the trial and error. And what was the thing that you could make better?
Oh, bro. Number one that I'm so bad at is like, let's say we go out, and there's this one girl I was talking to, and like I met her through like a mutual, like, it's like a mutual friend, and we're going out and we're drinking and hanging out, and then like a lot of the times too is like, I don't know where the balance is between like, I need to show explicit interest in this girl, but at the same time, it is a group setting. Like, and it's like, it's a group setting through people that she primarily knows. So it's almost like, not necessarily like an audition, right? It's like, also, you're kind of there to like, just also treat everybody else. And while as much as you're like very interested in this girl, you're not just going to be like so single-mindedly like looking and focus on this girl. And then, but the thing is like, bro, and especially when you're drinking, you get carried away. And then I was like really into like her group of friends. And then she told me later on, like, hey, kind of one of the things was just like, oh, you were like a little like friendly with everybody. I don't really like that, And then I explained to them later, I was like, hey, it was just because like, ever since
Was it also a group of girls or just?
No, it was just like friends, family, and all
Okay.
that stuff.
Oh.
And that was it. It was like, I was like, hey, the reason why like I was like that was because like ever since moving to Boston, I've kind of missed that sort of like familial aspect, right? Like going out to parties with that sort of like, imagine going to a house party that's your friend's family, and the mom treats you like their kid, and all of those cousins are now your sort of new adopted cousins. And I had that family thing, and I was in it, and then I was like, oh shit, like I really miss this, and I really appreciate this. So I'm all like friendly with everybody and like giving hugs and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, dude, just because like, dude, I miss that family stuff. And
That doesn't sound too bad.
no,
to
but
me.
I mean, like at the same
Sounds
time,
like more on her.
yeah, I mean, not even on her. It's just like, and then also like in terms of like, let's say you're dating, right? There's not like, I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but there's not a whole lot of like second chances. It's already such a thin sort of connection, right? That like if and especially like for more sort of like the ones that you find more important, if it's such a thin connection and it's this sort of like this delicate sort of like dance
Yeah.
back and forth.
Yeah.
So then if you do ruin it, and it might not even necessarily be something that's your fault, whatever, fine. The sort of string broke, and then
It's very
on
nuanced.
to the next one.
Yeah.
It's almost like you gotta be as perfect as you can early on because everything's so fragile and delicate.
But what's weird is the perfect as you can is not being a perfect person, is being a perfect dater. Like you gotta be the perfect back and forth. You gotta have like whatever. And then so, I mean like, I would never like, yeah, I don't really. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of tough, and I'm learning it. And watch, I bet you, even just like a few months from now, I'll probably have like a different perspective on dating. But it's fun to like learn, and then like I said, you can always fall back on the fact that like, bro, your resume's fine. You're a fucking guy.
I
You're
mean,
cool. You'll live. Like,
What works with one date may not work with like another date.
Yeah.
You know? And that's
Oh, yeah, of course.
that's the
Literally.
kind of like what's fun, but also very frustrating about dating too, is because you're always trying to figure out, well, should I do this? Should I do that? But I think foundationally, it's more about, well, what are my values and what do I want, and then what am I seeking that align with that would make it, I think, easier for dating. Because if you're trying to figure out, I mean, it's very nuanced, and like we both agreed, or like we all agree, is that what works for one may not work for the other, and maybe that's just meant to be.
I was gonna say, it almost sounds like when people describe dating as bases, but not really like first base, second base, like as far as talking about like sexual activities.
Yeah.
But more so as far as how comfortable you could allow yourself to be more of yourself. You know what I mean? Like if it's very early on, I've heard this from a lot of people who date. If it's like very early on, like first date and stuff like that, very easy to kind of just toss in the towel for any given reason. Right?
Yeah.
Like, we don't have the same music taste, like whatever's. And further down the dating line, when it becomes like a relationship, it's almost like sometimes people don't even care. Like, oh yeah, like this thing that might have bothered me at the very beginning, I actually could overlook. And this is again not I'm not saying anything against this. I'm also not advocating for it, but like, I used to smoke a lot of cigarettes.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I used to smoke a lot of cigarettes when I would drink. Like, I would never really buy my own pack or anything, but I would be one of those guys who bump cigarettes at parties. And then I would date people who, didn't know that about me per se, but it's also, for lack of a better word, like a deal breaker for them, typically at the initial part of dating. But now that you're kind of in a relationship with me, or we've been dating for a while and you're invested, like these same people who that was normally a deal breaker initially, they could kind of like turn a blind eye to it.
Because they're already in. So you're saying they're already in. They found out, and then they just decide to sort of like.
It's like, okay, maybe it's not that big of a deal for him. Even though if we initially date, let's say on the first date, talk about something like that, I'd be like, no, I'll never date someone who smokes.
So is this is this turning a blind eye a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know. I
I
think it's more so a lot of times people like to lay out right in front like what they like and what they don't like, what deal breakers are. But once you're invested to a certain point, that's where the real test is, right? Where it's like, are you really that against it? Or are you really just that against it for people that you don't really care that much for?
Yeah.
Because I again, this is going to sound terrible for me, but I get away with a lot of shit. You know what I mean? And that's because usually when people find out about my bad habits, it's like, it's already too late. You know what I mean? Like, I think usually when you...
So you were hiding smoking, and then you're like,
no, not hiding
I'm a
smoking.
fucking chain smoker.
Not hiding smoking, but it's like, it happens only like on certain occasions. So it's not like you're going to see me on the first date smoking a cigarette or something. You know what I mean? So I think it is definitely like a delicate dance.
Yeah.
And it's weird to think that, obviously when people date, they try to represent themselves in the best way possible, right? This is like me at 100%, 110%, whatever.
But is that the best you, like dating you, and then there's like a best you
I think
relationship?
I
you,
think there.
You know?
Well, I mean, okay, so what? Again, I lack experience in dating, just like you. You know what I mean? Like I have plenty of experience in relationships and long ones, but dating wise, I don't know if I would know how to navigate it nowadays. You know what I mean? As confident as I am in it, due to the fact that I'm confident in having relationships.
Yeah.
I think they do go hand in hand a little bit, but there's definitely a lot of nuance to it. Again, the amount of leeway you have when you first start is next to none, really. You know, especially with today's dating climate, where it is really people are kind of disposable. You know, like this person has 5 things perfect, and then one thing that I kind of don't like. Well, let me find the person who has all 6 things perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I do think that having that kind of mindset allows, because a lot of people that I talk to that think like that, they're typically only in short-term relationships.
Like
It's
their
because-
deal breakers and stuff.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they learn it, and it's like they haven't been invested enough to where they're like, oh, I could overlook it.
Yeah.
Because I think things happen, you know, outside of
Yeah.
like smoking. Like I don't smoke now, really. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, down the line things could change, right?
Yeah.
And same thing with like bad habits form later too. Good habits can also develop later. So it's like people change, but the person that you are initially when you're dating someone, I would assume, again, I don't have too much experience in it, is like the one that caters to the person that you're seeing the most. And the person that you want to be in a good relationship, like relationship etiquette is different, right? Because for me, when you decide to dedicate that much time to a person in a relationship, is you're looking for the best for your relationship, not so much to appease the person, if that makes sense. Because when I'm in long-term relationships, so I'm in the mindset, what works best for us, you know, not how am I gonna please you, you know, because sometimes those things are conflicting.
Where's the balance for you guys for the sort of like the individuality that you need to sort of retain when you are in a relationship? You need to still be your own person and your own self, as well as this sort of like unified couple that you guys are, right? Like we have to cater to us primarily or whatever, but also at the same time, like you still want to be your own person. You know what I mean? You want to pursue your own things, have your own interests, and not just be solely just you relationship, you guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where's the balance for you guys? Like, have you guys ever had problems with that? Like,
yeah.
I literally thought of you. I mean, like,
But you looking at me?
yeah. I was like, out of respect, I'm gonna ask somebody that I'm not biased again. But like, how about for you right now? Actually, I've never heard that about you or like asked you about this. But then,
Yeah.
so where do you balance your own sort of individual interest as well as sort of catering to the sort of relationship that you guys have?
That I had to learn because of my past experience with dating. I had an ex who I felt like was latching on a lot to my life and a lot of things that I did and my friends and all that. And it felt very like, I guess not suffocating, but it did feel very burdensome to feel like I always had to entertain and stuff. And so because of that relationship, I was like, this is one core thing I for sure is a deal breaker for me. Is like if I can't maintain that as if like I am my own person, then I'm going to let go of whatever or whoever I'm dating. But I mean, it's a hard thing to juggle because you want to do your own thing, but you also do have to realize you have to make sacrifices and do certain things for the relationship.
What were your things like that you were like, I need to have this for myself? What was that? Like you're like, I want this for myself. I have to keep this. I can't like compromise.
Space. You know, always wanting to be doing things together. Like even if we went out, I'm talking about my previous relationship, like I couldn't be in like, let's say like we're all together at like a house party. I'd have to come back every like 5 to 10 minutes. It was and I'm not even exaggerating the time. It was like, if it was beyond that, it's like, I'm in trouble, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you know, I was like, I can't be trying to help you develop as a person. And like, if you can't even mesh with my friends, that's another one too, right?
So she didn't like rock with your friends like that? Or you guys didn't like...
She hated like
Oh.
a lot of people.
That's
Especially
a tough
my
one.
goodness.
especially girls,
Bruh.
bro. There's one time when we broke up, like this one girl told me like, dude, one time when I hugged you and she's behind you, she said, I have never ever received a look that dirty before in my life. And I was like, that's scary because I didn't even know like that's going on. And it made sense because like even when we went to one of my closest friends' birthdays, and she's a girl and she's like, I think she's fake. And I was like, bro, you just met her. And like, so a lot of those things, like even when it's related to my friends, that's also kind of part of my individuality. Like if you can't get along with that aspect of my life too, then that's gonna say a lot to me because I've known them longer, and you know, like they're a reflection of who I am too, right? And who I hang out with, and you know, you can't just be like, I just want you, and then because then one of us has to give up something here, right? And for her, it would have been giving up that controlling, like, you know, mindset of like, it's just me and you, dude.
Yeah, us forever.
I think Pete said that before.
Dude, no, never.
You never had that?
I've had
Motherfucker, I was there. What do you mean?
No, I mean, it's not like it's only us, but it's like close, you know, where it's like we matter more than the
Us versus
some of
the
us.
world.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to me, I've always, I guess, maybe that gives me commitment issues. I'm not sure, but like for me, I never think about it like that. I think about it more. I guess this is the part that gives me commitment issues. Is that, well, if I commit only to you and then something happens and now everything else is gone.
Exactly.
You know, I have nothing to come back to, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like a good relationship would not put you in a position where that is the case. You know, and as far as to answer Matt's,
it's a given for sure. Yeah.
yeah, as far as to answer Matt's question, I think, you know, your individuality, where it becomes a problem is when you start feeling unhappy about the person that you're becoming or the person that you let go of. You know, and I think that happened a lot to me where, especially in one of my relationships, I gave up a lot. And I thought during that time, it was just being me, being romantic, you know, like I would do anything for this person. You hear that phrase a lot, you know, and literally I was doing so much. Like my significant other at the time was asking me to like change the way I look, you know, like get
Maybe
buff
she
or
was onto
gain.
something.
Shut the fuck up, bro. Coming from you, that's rich. That's rich.
Keep going. To the point that she was asking you to change even the way you look.
Yeah, physically, like she literally was like, "Hey, can you get buff like Chris Evans?" Like,
Oh, wow.
and I was like, "Oh,
Damn.
yeah, sure. If that's what you want, I'll do it."
Yeah.
You know, so like I ate a bunch, dirty bulk, gained a bunch of weight. It didn't look like Chris Evans, but you know,
the thought that
the
counts.
attempt was there. You know,
Yeah.
And I was like, "Damn, like holy fuck, like why did I do that?" And you know, because I thought this person was the person I'm gonna end up with, you know? And the more I've come to realize through seeing other relationships, just not my own, like the people that you tend to stay with the most are your fucking friends. You know what I mean? And if they can't be included in that part of your life, it's gonna be so fucking difficult because being alone is probably the worst thing. So when you've outcasted your friends and then your significant other and you can't be on the same page and talk, you can only feel alone. That's it.
Yeah.
And that, you know, so I hear this a lot where people say, "Oh, you shouldn't talk about your relationship problems with your friends and your family. You should talk to just only your significant other." I think that's so fucking wrong. Like, again, maybe a hot take. I'm not sure, you know? But if this person treats you poorly and is very manipulative and they know what they're fucking doing and you don't have a outsider's perspective, it's gonna be fucking extremely difficult for you to get out of that toxic relationship. Extremely. And that happens in only the most toxic relationships. You know, for me, I like outsiders' perspectives because I don't think I'm always right, you know? So I would like to hear what other people think. And I think that only is true if you trust the group that you're in. If you trust your friends' opinions.
I think also when you kind of understand yourself more, you don't need to rely too much on outside opinions and advice to not skew, but to kind of give you perspective. Because if you felt like, I don't feel like myself, right? I'm trying to be like Chris Evans. Then listening to yourself would, I think, give you the same kind of perspective and advice that you would need, you know, because like in my past ones, like I felt like the same way, and I just felt like I was a shell of my former self. But your friends are a good way to help you affirm that too, and be like, am I fucking crazy? Or like, I was very private though with my shit. Like I didn't like sharing anything when it comes to like even right now it's uncomfortable for me to, because I don't want to come off like I'm bad mouthing them, but it is what it is, what happened. And like I would try to go through it myself, and people around me would see it without even knowing the details. And yeah, I think it is nice to have your friends tell you what you're probably already thinking. But when you do find it with yourself and what you already know and what you want and who you are, it makes it a lot easier. And that's why, like, I do agree, like, you should try to contain it with who you're with. But it's difficult when they aren't completely maybe reasonable, or if they are toxic, because then you have to figure out, okay, well, now I do need to talk to someone outside of it. I think for me, it would be, I'm going to try to figure it out first. And I have experienced enough of like toxicity and stuff to where I can kind of like identify it myself. And even then when I do, I think this is what's more important, is when you do talk about it with your friends, is how you talk about it. You don't come to them and be like, guess what this dumb bitch did again, or something like that. It's like, hey, this is what happened, and I want to lay it out for you, and you let me know if I'm being fucking crazy or like that, right? Because I know some people who come to friends and then it's just, you can tell they're trying to make it one-sided, and they're trying to get your, validation for them.
So but that's probably more intent then, right? Like,
right.
Like you as in the relationship, what your intent is when you're venting. Because like I was thinking about like, okay, let's say, right, we agree for the most part that when you're in a relationship, you should be allowed to vent to your friends. Like it's a very kind of healthy thing to do. But then imagine like that line is easy kind of to draw there. But let's say like the things that you say to your therapist, like who should know that? You know what I mean? Your deepest, darkest, most like vulgar, unfiltered secrets, right? Like how much of that should be exposed to your friends or your relationships, right? And so with your friends, it actually, I feel like it does kind of occasionally cross the line, and maybe, like you're saying, maybe it has something to do with intent, but also just like, should these people that are your friends should know about every single thought that you have about your significant other, every single like unfiltered, unfettered thought that you have about this like argument
I
that you had that
say
day?
no.
And the thing is like, how are you gonna know when to be like, oh, well, I should tell him about this, but I shouldn't tell him about that, or I should say like, like, oh yeah, we fought, but also like I felt this way, like the lines kind of gets pretty gray, and then like, especially if you think about it like in that context.
I would say it's kind of like when you really want to buy something and you're like, let me sleep on it for a while, and if you still want to buy that thing, then maybe you did. Same with if you had a problem and it was really bothering you, and you took the time to, let it sit with you. And then if you still felt the same way after a while, then you could bring it up. I'm not saying, you do whatever you want. It's your guys' relationship with your friends and your significant other. But it's true. Once you start saying stuff, and then you can't control how they're going to receive it, and then what they're going to do after that knowledge too. So that's another thing when it comes to relationships, is you do have to also, you're an extension of them.
I know that line is very muddled, dude. Because
all
right, let me give you an example. All right, so how you said like basically therapist is the furthest end that you could go, right? Your friends and therapists. That's what.
And maybe just you to yourself.
Yeah, you
it's
to
like
yourself.
The last bastion.
Yeah, that's usually the first thing, but yeah. So you to yourself. You should be your significant other if you can, right? Because if you could solve it before your significant other comes in play, cool. Friends and family and therapists, typically, you would say that's the direction you would go?
Well, no, I think therapist is closer
I don't want to say it's linear either.
Therapist is probably like closer to more like they get to know your deepest, darkest, most sort of unfiltered, fucked up things. So that's closer to you, what you tell yourself.
Okay, so you think therapist before... Okay, so
you're thinking linear, and we're thinking, I think, more of like who gets the degree of how much you're actually sharing, right?
Yeah.
Because
that's what I'm saying too.
If we all, let's say, had access to a therapist, right? I'm sure you would choose that as well because you get to process it more, especially with professional advice.
So the reason why I'm saying this, and I'll give you an example where I think it's not so linear as you were saying, is that let's say, so with therapists, right? This is from what I know. I can't speak on it exactly, but this is what I would assume, is that therapists can't really do anything outside of their job description to influence your life. Meaning this therapist is not gonna go and meet you up in a park and be like, yo, this, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. Right? They'll sit you in the work environment in a chair and they'll talk to you about everything that you need to talk to about and maybe suggest a couple things. Right?
Okay.
So a therapist can't do anything outside of the power of work typically because everything's confidential. But let's say you're an example, right? Let's give example. It's not us because it doesn't happen too much to males. But let's say you're a woman, you're in a relationship, and your husband beat you, right? So you think typically a therapist would be the person to know that and maybe not tell that to your friends. But a therapist can't do anything outside of their power, outside their constraints of work in order to keep you away. Right? Versus
Legally,
like,
don't they?
Yeah,
don't they
'cause
have
you're-
like some ability to like if it's breaking the law, they have some.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
when it comes to harm and
or like just like breaking the law, like
Yeah.
I think right, like if,
I don't know.
like the classic question, like okay, if you're a serial killer and you admitted to murder to your therapist,
they can, they
Yeah.
can,
yeah.
they
So
can break
at what
confidentiality.
point you mean? So
Oh, I
like,
don't
let's
know
say
exactly where.
let's just say verbal. You know what I mean? Like, let's say they're like, oh, he threatened to fucking hurt me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like the person who's most likely to help you avoid something like that would be probably your friends or your family. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely not the law.
Yeah. I think it's like a weird blurred line at that
Yeah.
point. And I feel like, you know, with toxic relationships like that get physical, like that's not spoken about enough. You know, usually how friends and family notice is through the physical
Yes.
marks, right? Like bruised eye, bruises, you know. Like I've, you know, unfortunately known a lot of abusers in my life, and some people are very, very slick with it, you know?
Bro, seriously.
Dude, like there's this one relationship that I know, like the dude would bully punch her in her armpits. Because it's like one of the hardest places to bruise.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to like see where the damage is done.
That's like insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that is crazy, and things like that do happen. Obviously, I think you see therapists for any kind of level of problems. It doesn't need to be like physically harmful, but I feel like to that degree, it's not as black and white.
Or so you're saying as much as like a friend group could or a family group could help you out?
Yeah. In that case, I feel like I trust my family and friends to go out and do something rather than, you know, because I've also been in that situation where people have called me.
The friends and family got to intervene.
Yeah, and they're like, "Hey, this happened," and then I was like,
You
"Well,
gotta-
all right, I gotta
Well,
take
yeah,
you away." You know, I know you feel like you love this person or whatnot, but like, trust me, you're not thinking clearly. Like,
Yeah.
this is not good for you, and it could lead to a couple things. Unfortunately, you know.
I know of one too, and friends tried, but they try and then they also try to be careful not to overstep boundaries, and then
Yeah.
it just gets weird.
That's also extremely weird.
Yeah.
Trying to
Yeah.
figure out when you overstep, like that's really weird. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, to get to kind of a lighter note, slightly lighter.
Yeah.
You know, one of the big things that I hear about a lot is that, you know, it's their relationship. It's not for me to intervene.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
One thing would be cheating.
Cheating. Caught
Right?
cheating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Bro, I don't
Here we go.
know. Okay.
what do you guys think about that?
And this is assuming we're close to both of them.
Yes.
I think I don't know, man. Like, especially for something like you would think that cheating is a very succinct and clear thing. No way, it's not. Some people have so many different definitions of cheating.
very
So
true.
what if, like, on top of that, it's like, what if you were wrong? What if you're like, hey, you know, this is like this is cheating. You gotta like whatever you like prescribe. Like you gotta break up with them, and then the person's like, I mean, it's bad, and I'll talk with them about the cheating, but like also like, why are you meddling in my business? You know what I mean? They're probably already gonna be like, nobody is not gonna be like on the defensive and feel sort of attacked. Like this is a very accusatory thing, and they're like, why are you like meddling in my relationship when, you know, it's like, yeah, it was bad, but why are you, you know, all up in my business? What
Yeah.
the fuck, you know?
Yeah, that's tough because a lot of people would say like, "Oh, well, I would want to know. I would want someone to come forward and tell me. But then I've seen the whole other side where they're like get, like stay out of our fucking business, and then
Yeah.
at that point, then you justified yourself. Well, I did the right thing,
Yeah.
and then it's just tough to know like what you want to do because it's you involve yourself, and then you know it's not just gonna stay contained with
Yeah.
that. Like now it is your business too. You know, as much as you just wanted to be like, oh hey, just want to let you know because I would want to know. And then it was like, did you hear fucking Matt just?
Yeah. And it's always everyone always says, like in theory, everyone's always like, I would want to know.
In theory.
Everyone should tell me or whatever. In practice, I swear, when you've seen it happen in real life, never works out like in that way. They're like, look, it's tough, but thanks for letting me know. Like blah blah blah. It's always like some crazy fucking drama. It's not.
I knew you were always jealous.
Yeah.
I think there are degrees to it. If the person is like blatantly cheating, like they don't give a fuck if you see, and they'll do it multiple times, I think I feel like you're more obligated to tell the other person in that scenario, because it's almost like that friend that you caught cheating does not respect you enough to kind of keep you away from what's meddling in their business, right? You made this my business at this point. Right?
That's true.
Because some people are fucking
like
chronic,
chronic, absolute,
like,
chronic.
yeah. It's like, all
That's
right,
different. Yeah.
yeah. But if it's insinuated cheating, then that's a lot more difficult. Like I didn't see it. Like I don't fucking know. It looked that way, but
Have you seen those relationships where, let's say, like you've caught them cheating, it's not a known thing between like the relationship, and then they're like still together forever afterwards. Let's say they're even like married. Then are you still supposed to say something? Like at the wedding, you're like, hey, by the way,
Oh, bro.
look, I was like, like, and I feel like that's probably happened before, right? Like where you saw it happen,
right,
you just kind of like, and then especially, you know what, the easiest way to ignore it? It's like at a party or something, and you're like, yo, that's fucked, but you're so drunk, everyone's so drunk, you're like, I'm not really gonna say anything. You kind of don't think about it because that's just not your life. That's not something you occupy a lot of your time with. Suddenly you kind of like sleepwalk, and then it's years later, and it's like, holy shit. Like, what if, like, and holy shit, they're fucking getting married or some shit.
You know what's crazy is it doesn't even have to be years later. You just literally described a bachelorette party.
Oh,
Because that's a time where you would be drunk, where people are a little bit more, enticed to cheat.
Oh, yeah.
And
lapse
also
of
then
judgment.
then the next thing,
Dude.
they are getting married.
Wait, are you
right?
enticed to cheat because you're at a bachelor party, or are you enticed to cheat because you're a fucking cheater? Like the bachelor party didn't bring anything out in
What
you.
a great way to remove accountability.
I don't know. I feel like it is both. There are people who definitely it's not in the forefront of their mind.
Yeah.
But bachelor party, I could honestly say bachelor parties and bachelorette parties do bring out another side of people that typically
But
Wait.
they're not.
All right.
So let's say like the same instance, but does time make a difference? Like, oh, okay, that was 5 years ago, that one time, or that one time 5 minutes before the wedding.
See, that's the thing.
I think it. Oh man.
If I held my breath and then they're now married,
yeah.
I'm gonna hold my breath to the grave.
To the day to the grave.
that-
It's you know what I mean? Because like,
shit.
at what point am I gonna bring it up now? They're fucking married. I haven't said shit. You know what I mean? Like, the only situation where I think I would bring up at that point would be like, he's still cheating or she's still cheating. It's ongoing, and now I'm like, all right.
Still, I mean, even if it was just let's say the one time during the bachelor party, it still kind of does make you like a bad person.
I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm not saying it doesn't.
Like,
but what direction do you get to go though? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, no,
Because if you already held your breath at the fucking like wedding,
Yeah.
then you're probably gonna continue to do it, right? It makes no sense for you to do it like 10 years later, and they're fucking they have 2 kids now and shit like that.
Oh, I've lived with being a piece of shit for a long time now.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
live with it a little
You
bit
know?
longer.
Yeah.
Like if there's any time for you to say it, you should have said it before all of that.
Well, I'm with dude, and okay. The crazy thing is it's not like the bachelor parties that we go on. It's not like we're just like, yeah, cheat. like we're literally, again, like the whole prerogative of the group is to
Have
just
fun.
fucking
Yeah.
literally spend time with each other, enjoy each other's company
Yeah.
to the fullest, in the most degenerate sort of like drunken, alcoholic, whatever, like drugs, whatever the fuck. But you're just there to just like have a good time with each other. and it's not so explicit. But then like, man,
But sometimes that fun gets out of hand, you know.
yeah,
So
I know, right? But then like, yeah, out of hand. I mean, like. Maybe it wasn't in your hands to begin with, bro. If you be fucking cheating on a bachelor party,
Yeah.
and like,
Yeah.
dude, imagine and also what a weird fucking traditions fucking
Yeah,
bachelor and
bruh.
bachelorette parties
Oh
are.
my
it
God.
really is.
Yeah.
Like I've honestly like to this day I still find it weird, and like I've always thought like why don't we just all go party together, like, or go on a trip together? We all go on a trip together.
Yeah.
Like
Because it's hard
co-ed.
to cheat if you do that. Duh, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's always the person organizing like, hey man, my boy's got to cheat, so I gotta, you know.
It's last day.
Or in general, like, why the fuck do we care to like go on separate bachelorette parties? Like, we literally go on vacations where there's like this is not uncommon whatsoever. Where there's 12 of us, all guys and girls. We're in a single like Las Vegas hotel room where there's 12 of us sharing one bathroom. It's just like two queens, and we're all sleeping on the floor together, hanging out, doing the drunkest, dumbest shit. We've done that so many times. Why do we need a bachelor party that's just guys?
Because again, I think it goes back to that side of it is just like people being promiscuous, and sometimes it's not so much as like cheating per se, right? Because I think cheating is defined by the couple and not by the people outside of the relationship.
Yeah.
But let's say, for instance, cheating to someone is intercourse, right?
Yeah.
And then they go to a bachelor party or bachelorette party, and they go and they get a lap dance, and therefore it's not cheating.
Yeah.
Right, because to their guidelines. But also the significant other is like, oh, I'd rather not see that.
Yeah.
Like, you do what you do, but as long as you're not doing this, like, that's okay. So that's why I think things like that are needed. And I'm not gonna make myself sound out to be I'm not gonna virtue signal. I'm not gonna make myself out to be like a fucking angel. Like, the way I talk with just guys is different than when I talk with girls around.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it's not even that different, but like if Matt were to say like, damn, that girl's kinda hot, I'd be like, yeah, she's pretty hot. I probably would not say that with a significant other right next to me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? There is like
Pussy.
you mean like if she asked, like, I would be like,
But
yeah,
that
I
is
would
not
admit
even
to it.
inherent. Like, that's not even inherently a bad thing. That's just the nature of like as guys with guy experiences and guy sort of opinions and jokes and sense of humor that connects with just when guys are together. That's what it is. And when in a
But
setting where there's also
some
girls
relationships,
around,
they do view that as negative, though.
Yeah, I mean that's just I don't know.
You see,
not
that's
my
what I'm saying.
personal-
It's just within the confines of a relationship, right? Like, if you were to say, like, damn, that girl got a fat ass, like, I wouldn't mind looking if it's like normally, because I know I don't mean anything by it. Like, I'm just like, oh yeah, you're right. Like, I'm here to validate you, right?
Yeah.
And maybe like if I'm single, I'm like, oh yeah, she does. Yeah, it's kind of nice. But if it's with a significant other, I would respect them to not do that. Right?
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't look at all. I'd be like, I have no idea what the fuck you're saying, Matt. Like,
Yeah,
who are you talking about?
Honestly, even too, I was like, I wouldn't or say it deliberately to like, or no, I wouldn't say it knowing that it would get you in trouble. However, like I would just like as a joke be like, hey, Peter, specifically Peter, check out that ass cheek.
You're not looking.
Yeah, look. That's the only time I think I say, like, even as your friend, I wouldn't be like, yo, damn, like, I'll just check out the girl with like another single friend, like you could just
But
like,
when
whatever,
you're
just
again,
goofy
you
fuck.
talk about bachelor parties and bachelorette parties.
Yeah. I guess I could get it. Like the sort of
it's
promiscuity
typically
is,
pretty like it's just a bunch of degenerates, right?
Yeah.
Most of the time, or at least degenerative activities. Like, it's not the point is to kind of do those things, right? I'm not saying everyone does, because I've known of some very innocent bachelor parties. But in our case, what we're used to is not that. The standard or the tradition is not that. And that's what we're talking about is weird, right?
Yeah.
It's the standard tradition.
I think there's like stats released recently about
really?
how much they cheat at those kinds, and it's fucking high.
Really?
It's
Bruh.
at least a B minus.
Yeah, those like fucking videos where it's like just a group of girls like wearing the same thing, and then the one that has a sash is just like cheating, and they're like, well, that's Kelly for you, you know.
You know what's crazy is I feel, and I could be completely wrong on this, just my opinion. I feel like it's way more blatantly obvious when a bachelor party cheats than a bachelorette party cheats.
More obvious.
Yeah, it's more blatant with guys. it's just I don't know. I feel like I can never tell what it's like when it's like a bachelorette party. Like
Yeah.
they just come back like, oh yeah, we just have fun. Like, well, get some drinks. Got some free drinks at the bar, and it seems like, oh shit, they just had a very normal night out,
Went to
just
the
girls.
club, got drunk, whatever.
Yeah, but guys, I'm always like, nah, there's no way you fucking did just that. You know what I mean?
Probably because like
Like
the
maybe
stereo,
it's instinct as being a guy
Yes.
too.
the stereotypical like guy bachelorette activity, like number one all time, like strip club,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So if you're already upholding the tradition in the sense that you're specifically making a guy bachelor trip, then it's like, well, the sort of like next conclusion you would make is like, oh yeah, they probably went to a strip club. But a girl bachelorette trip, there's not necessarily inherently these like activities that are like explicitly or like implied cheating, like just girls in a group together, like in a bachelor party, getting drunk in Mexico or some shit.
What do you think they do during these bachelorette parties?
That's,
Matt?
no, but I'm saying it's more
curious.
subtle. Like if the one does cheat, then
I
it's,
know,
like,
but
less
what I'm
obvious.
asking is, what do you think they're doing? Like reading books? Like,
I mean, they're like going out drinking, but like man, they be cheating. Huh?
you see what I mean? It's so like the tradition for guys is it's so expected, and women they only talk about it enough for you to be like, oh, that's what they did, or that's what they normally do.
What percentage is cheating, like overall number of times wise? What percentage do you think cheating, in which a scenario in which cheating is forgivable? Like 99% of the time, cheating is forgivable.
Whoa,
Or like
what the
40
fuck?
No, no, I'm
I
just
want to
saying,
be in that relationship.
No. Like,
Yeah.
the sum total of like all relationships on the planet, what percent do you think where it lands?
Damn.
Where, okay, cheating is forgivable, cheating's not forgivable. Where do you think it lands?
I feel like typically
You know-
people say not forgivable, and I would say that's most of the time, like 90-something% of the time.
What's crazy is I actually feel like in aggregate, more often than not, I feel like the relationship end up being where not necessarily forgivable in that like it's perfect afterwards, but like you'll accept it and it'll be like part of that,
And
as
you move
opposed
forward.
to being a deal breaker. Like most relationships where the cheating happens, at least more often than not, whatever 51, 49.
What's the percentage that you would forgive someone that cheat on
I
you?
don't know, man. Wait, what?
Yeah, for you.
Yeah, what's the likelihood that you'd forgive someone that cheated on you?
Forgive someone that cheated on me? Oh man.
You can't go over 100.
And don't say it depends on how hot they are.
Well, damn, you took the answer right out of my mouth. I would say like, I would try 51% of the time where I would try to be okay, but it would be like, I'm betting you like as much as I would be like, okay, we cheated and you're moving on and it's not a deal breaker. How like miserably unhappy I would be. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
directly fucking
So you say 50-something% of the time.
51?
51, 49, where I would try to like, go
It's a coin
move
flip.
on it. Yeah. As opposed to it being just like an immediate deal breaker. Like, no, it's done. However, I don't think that 51% is, I don't imagine a lot of situations in which I'm like genuinely happy.
Yeah.
So why 51 if at a coin flip's best, 99% of the time you're gonna be unhappy continuing it.
I think that like probably I'm more the type of person to err on the side of like just try as opposed to not try. You know what I mean? And then so even though the try is something as miserable as like, dang, you gotta like move on from this cheating, I feel like I would err more on the side of like you just try. I mean I feel
Wow.
like more often than not. You know what I mean? At least slightly. But that's just
That's
because
great.
knowing that again like I'm sort of like an effortful person, right? Like and also maybe just my own sort of insecurity in the succinctness of like if that is it and you really cut off and that's done, like, wow, that takes a very strong, like resolute person to be like, all right, cheating, done. Cut it off right here, right now. Like at my definition of cheating, I could only see maybe myself doing that maybe like 49% of the time, I probably still skew slightly towards trying it out,
What about you, Adrian?
Sounds good on paper.
Yeah, I know. Real life, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Why did I say 51 on the podcast?
Yeah, easy to say when you never have relationships.
Yeah.
I'd probably just drop it. I would just end it.
What's the percentage?
Percent
Yeah.
that I would be forgiving.
That you'd drop it.
Oh, probably like 90%.
So 10%
I don't know what
you
that
would drop it.
Gotta be super fucking hot and
No, we're being honest. That's like so real.
Why?
so
Why?
true.
Why the 10%?
100 because only sits deal in absolutes.
So true.
Because I don't know what would actually happen, and there's so many
yeah.
variables that might come into play. Like at the end of the day, we're human. Like how many? I've known some people who were like engaged for so long, and then
Yeah.
they don't want to let go because of the sunk cost fallacy. Like, oh, I put in so much time and effort, and that's part of like being in love, and you're just like putting all these things together, and you're like, do I really want to let go of all this? And then you think of all the other things. I got to let go of this group of friends, and this family, and I'm not gonna see them. And then it becomes more than just you and her, and then what she did. It becomes everything you've done in totality, and that's the 10% is because I don't know how I would react.
Yeah.
Even though it has happened to me in the past, you know, I don't know. You also grow as a person, and maybe where you stand on those kinds of things could change because the person you're dating may not be the same type of person. Maybe to them it was a lapse of judgment, and it's, you know, maybe you were fucking up and you been working too long and you were home and all that. You know, maybe you had kids.
You never know.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables, and I think that's the 10%
Yeah.
you would have to take into account. Because for me to say 100 would mean like, I don't know. Even I don't think I would do 100%. I don't know. You know, as much as I would strongly want to, because I don't want to feel like a fool from what happened. You know, and then I'm going to always live with that. I'm going to be the one who has to be the bigger person every time, because there's only so many times you be like, "Who was that? Who you texting? Why did you text you so late?"
Oh, like the whole
yeah,
time,
bro.
right? Like the sort of indignity that you'll have to live with, right?
Yeah.
Or it's even harder too. Is like, imagine the person that cheats on you. Like, what if they were also family? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then how are you gonna
What?
like? If you
What the fuck?
you were
Did you-
dating,
I'm being open-minded here.
what if they were? What if your cousin cheated on you, and then you're like, you can't just cut them off because they're also your cousin. You know what I mean?
How many times has that happened? Kenny.
Shout out, Kenny. I love you.
So Vin said, "What do you consider cheating to you?" Because you did bring up it's on the relationship.
Yeah.
Right? What they consider cheating. Oh, lap dance, whatever. That's not lap dance. Yeah, I mean, oh wait, if my girl got one at Chippendales,
Yeah, is that a deal breaker?
I don't know. That seems more like, oh, that's so fun. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas type shit.
Yeah.
But then men's like, let's go fucking anywhere and get a lap dance.
But dude, yeah, I mean, that's kind of okay. A Chippendales lap dance. That's, I mean, a lot of people I could easily see the argument where consider that's very explicit cheating. Like another dude rubbing his junk all over your girl. She's enjoying it. She's like having the time of her life.
That's like, to me, a show. That's why. But then if it was at the club and some random, to me, that would be like, yeah, nah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very situational.
Yeah.
See?
Because a show is like, it's a show. From what I like, strip clubs is just, for men, it's just obviously, it's a little different.
Yeah.
And then, but that's a show that is completely advertised on the strip and stuff. But yeah, at the club, that to me, I don't know. We've talked about that too, actually. Where you're like, is that cheating? And I was like, yeah. And then like, would you break up with them? Like, oh.
Wait a minute.
Oh, damn. Because yes, I think that is crossing a boundary. Like, I obviously don't want that, because it feels like it's cheating to me. But damn, that is tough, because then you're like, whoa, how much are you gonna forgive them for that act? You know, and then I don't know. To me, that would be, but breaking up with them over that might be a little different story.
What if she enjoyed it a lot? No, I'm serious. Like, because you can, like, if there's a difference between she's like, yeah, it's a show, whatever. Like, we're here. For
Oh, you mean
the girls.
Chippendales? I think you meant the club.
Oh no, God,
Like,
no.
Jesus Christ, why are you telling me that? By the way, it was so good. At Heat.
Yeah, the Chippendales one where she's like, oh yeah, like he was so like hot, or he's so buff, like dick was big, like she was really like enjoying it. And she's like, oh, but it's it's just.
I'll be like, I must go see it then.
I must taste the fruit for myself.
I think you're lying.
Jesus Christ.
Or maybe a easier one would be, what would be you say is cheating, and you would also end it because of that, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. It has to be a cheating that warrants like ending the relationship without, or more or less without question.
Yeah.
What is cheating? I think at the point where someone like makes out that's like cheating. Like dancing,
Yeah.
maybe not so much, but I wouldn't be unhappy about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
You know, I wouldn't call it
Yeah,
cheating. I'd be like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? And but it also depends on what kind of dancing, because that's
Like
very
grinding.
broad. Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
for
She was
Then-
grinding on him.
Also,
but
how
like,
many
yeah.
times they do that? If it was a one time,
How many
like, oh,
songs?
Or passing by, like, oops,
Yeah, it
you
was
know?
a fucking. It was a whole DJ set. Yeah,
Yeah,
baby.
dude.
If it's
Yeah,
one
question it a
Pretty
little
Ricky
bit.
song, like okay, you're good, you're good.
oh god, dude.
Does that matter? Do you think it would make a difference between like grinding for like half an hour, like a few good handful of songs, versus just like
Even half an hour sounds pretty long.
a few songs or one song? Does that matter?
Yeah, I definitely think how
Yeah.
long you do it matters. I think already right off the bat, it even happening is something that I'll be unhappy about. But also
Yeah.
depends on a couple of other variables. Like if it was like a gay friend, like I'd be like, whatever.
No,
who
but
fucking
we
cares,
weren't
right?
even thinking about that.
Yeah, yeah.
honestly.
But
That
you know what I
wasn't
mean?
even-
But some
That
people,
happens, though.
some people
No.
do fucking care.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Some people do
Yeah,
care.
yeah.
I'm
That's
just
true, that's
putting that out
Yeah.
there. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
To me, I'm like, if it's a gay friend, like I don't give a shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like to me, it's like someone where I view as the intentions could not be pure. If
Mm-hmm.
that's more the case. Like even if it is like, let's say grinding, right? Let's say it's like, but it's like a dance partner for like a hip hop class, and that's part of choreography. I'd be like, whatever. So I'm gonna fuck, right? But again, it has to go back to like, how do I feel about the person, right? Like
Yeah.
why are they doing this?
Okay, grinding at the club, and so like let's say you're, especially if you're drinking, right? There almost sometimes it's like there's not even intent per se. You know, you're just grinding on another like cute guy. There's no intent. You're not really.
I don't know about
thinking
grinding on
about-
cute guys. I can't tell you about that.
Like,
Tell us more, man.
Let me explain to you what it's like to grind on a. But like, yeah, what if she was like grinding on a good-looking guy that she found
I
attractive?
honestly actually don't give a fuck what the guy looks like. That's
Yeah,
not really
yeah.
my
Well,
thing, because
then
it's
how
not
about-
about if I view them as like a threat. It's more so the intentions.
Well,
Yeah,
more
yeah.
so, how much did she find them attractive? Is why I bring it up. Of course, like
Even if
you never compare yourself.
I personally think that, and this is just me speaking about my past and things I've done before. So this is not opinion. This is trial by fire. I don't personally care if my significant other finds other people attractive, right? Like people, you can find people attractive. It's really hard for you to control the way you feel, right? I think actions is really the main thing. So if they find this person attractive and they're attracted to them and they grind on them, then it's like a big red flag, and I'm unhappy about that because the intentions could
Deal
be
breaker?
misplaced anyway. I would say it's like a deal breaker. I wouldn't say it's a deal breaker, but it would be very close, extremely close. It would have to be like a big lapse of judgment, like they were completely drunk for me to even consider that. You know, that it would be okay. And even then, it doesn't mean it's okay.
Yeah.
It just means like, you really fucked up. Like we gotta talk about this shit.
yeah.
Hey, we all agree that cheating depends on the couple, right?
Yes.
Depends on what their boundaries and guidelines are.
Yeah.
Because I've definitely seen some couples where they do not give a fuck if their significant other
Oh,
dances
bro.
with others. I think the first time I ever noticed anything like that was when one of my friends told me that, oh yeah, me and my boyfriend check out girls all the time. And I was like, oh, that's very strange.
Together.
Yeah, together. Like he'll be like, oh, this girl's hot. And what do you think?
Actually, I know it's gonna total shifting gears, but we're thinking about what, when like, not necessarily sort of spirituality. It might be in that your spirituality could be about like a higher being, but like let's just say you personally, when times are tough and you're by yourself, like what or who do you look towards? You know what I mean, to help you get through that. When shit is like you're by yourself, like granted, yes, you can talk to your friends about it as much as you want, but where does the sort of drive within yourself come from? Or just in general, like how do you describe your sort of like quote unquote spirit, or how do you envision when you think about who you are and you're trying to imagine this sort of like nebulous sort of thing that is not necessarily tangible and it's not just your physical body, and you think about who you are as a person, like what do you think about when you're trying to say like, oh, when me, Adrian, is like this, or when I think about Adrian I look at this, or when I think about Peter I look at this, you know what I mean?
Can you start that off just so that I have a good example, a baseline?
Yeah, I'm not a very spiritual person, sort of religiously. I don't look to religion, but when I think about like Matt and who he is, you just imagine this sort of like nebulous, sort of liquid thing that's like, okay, Matt is, part of him is the decisions he makes, part of him is the kind of like all those like negative thoughts that he has about himself, a lot of that feeds into it. Part of him is the sort of drive that he has within himself. And so my like spirituality, or the things that I find that are outside of my body, outside of just like the things that you can feel and see, is like just the collection of your own thoughts, your morals, and you know what I mean? Like, and you're just like, whatever, you're just kind of every day kind of like trying to mold this liquid into something else, or mold this sort of like thing, you know what I mean, to make like who you are. So what do you think about when you think about yourself? Like, how do you see that, you know?
I'm the Adrian go first for the second example.
I guess
I don't know what the question was.
I guess I just haven't figured out how to phrase it like correctly. But I mean, always start just like easier, you know? Are you guys spiritual? Not in the sense of like, you know, like has to be sort of religious, but you know, what do you think about, you know, outside of yourself, right? So outside of yourself, you know, like, or either the broader universe or sort of humanity as a whole, are you spiritual? Is that does that play into anything that you guys think about like throughout your day?
I'm not spiritual either,
Yeah.
so it's hard for me to really describe that because I don't really think about it too much. But I guess if I were to use like a spiritual word, it would be like energy. You know, you hear that tossed around a lot.
Yeah.
And I would like to think that me as a person is like a lot of like positive and negative energy, but contagious. And that's the way I want to see it. It's like it's what I do is supposed to be for everything outside of me, if that makes sense. So I guess in regular people terms, it would be like a influence, and that's what I feel like my energy is like influential, right? Not in terms of like a influencer or some shit like that, but like
No. What a,
but like genuinely like influential, meaning like whatever you're attracted to, that whenever you're around me, that's like genuine, and that's what you really get, and there's no fluff to it. And that's the way I see myself, as if we were talking about
whatever
like,
they're
energy.
attracted to about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always genuine. Like it's really hard for you to be attracted to the disgenuine parts of me, because even I don't believe in that part. You know what I mean? It's really hard for me to lie to
What are the
myself.
like ingenuine parts about you?
I think sometimes I feel, especially now, you know, at this age, I've gone through imposter syndrome a couple of times.
Yeah.
And it's more like self-doubt that makes me feel like ingenuine, and it's due to a couple events where I feel like I was very confident going into it and not as confident going out, and I had a lot of people believing in me, thinking that I could do this or do that. And you know, like, to speak on real life terms, like I have started a couple of businesses that have flopped
Yeah.
terribly, you know what I mean? And at the introduction of the idea to start the businesses, people would have been like, dude, this idea is genius. Like, you're going to do great things. This is amazing. You know, a lot of compliments, right? Whether it's real or not. And for it to flop makes me feel like I put that energy out into the world and it did not work out, right? So therefore it brings self-doubt, because now I feel like I shouldn't have even put it out there in the first place, right? But that's a lot of me fighting internally, thinking like, oh, you know, like I failed. Do I not take what people say, that like it was actually a good idea, that it was actually something that could have been life-changing, and take it as like, damn, I really don't know what I'm talking about, and like I'm just throwing shit and hopefully something sticks? Or was I truthfully passionate? I really did believe it, and something just didn't go my way. And I'm also a believer, like, everything that's within my control is my fault. You know? So I take it back as like, oh, damn, like, maybe I'm not as good as I thought. But also, I also think, like, oh, yeah, if I failed at it, there's something to learn from that. Right? Where I could pick myself back up. And at the very least, like, I know what I'm not good at or what I could have done better, and put that out as like a renewed energy, right? Like something that's like different and refreshed.
But are your failures necessarily not part of who you are? I mean, it probably is, like, although it might feel ingenuine in that it feels like it was like a negative thing, or like it didn't work out, doesn't necessarily mean it's not part of who you are, right? Like, I think
Oh, I definitely do think it's a part of me, though. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is part of me. It is part of me. It's just the way I perceive things is slowly starting to change, right? Because, you know, I've failed a lot. You know, I'm not even talking about like other aspects of life. I've failed all over the place, but I've failed a lot, specifically in the things that I believe in the most. Right. And you do it time after time after time, you start to kind of doubt yourself, right? Until you kind of you gather your thoughts and you think, you know, all this is actually you take it as a lesson and set yourself up for like success later.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen it quite there yet. You know what I mean? Like I have to gather myself up to where I feel confident in what I'm doing is gonna make a difference. And again, that's like a lot of me as a person. Like I want to make a difference. You know, and not so much like me, like you know me for it. It's just like the impact that's left. Like, you know, 100 years down the line, like no one will probably know me, but if that impact, you know, has a ripple effect outside, like whatever people could have learned from my, you know, experience, then that's more than enough for me. That's what I'm really going for, and that's like what I would want to think of my spirit.
I see. Because
Yeah.
like, okay, so you were saying, right? Like, what was it? You had failed at the most important things to you. You had failed the most at the most important things to you.
Yeah.
And I think it reminds me of something I saw today where it was like, all like good things in life inherently come with either the opportunity for or the it has like a piece of sort of embarrassment that comes with it, right? Because like all things that are important to you and that are good inherently have some kind of vulnerability. So whether it's like you with your self-development, which is important to you, or you that's to your family that's important to you, or your friends or your work, all of those things require some, if you want to do something and to do that really well or to do something really great with that, then it inherently involves some kind of risk, or like a relationship involves some kind of risk or embarrassment that's tied to it. So it makes sense. And it's like, if anything, it's like, it's a good thing that you have failed the most with the things that are most important to you, because that means that your like focus has been with the things that are most important to you, because you had been failing at those things. The failures are an indication that like your time is well spent, actually. You know, not necessarily that you have to fail, but that it tells me, at least at a minimum, like you're looking in the right places, you're doing the right things. Like it's good that you failed the most at the things that are most important to you. You know.
Yeah.
So I saw that today. I was like, that's a very good way of like thinking about it. I mean, we shouldn't get used to just like failing all the time. Right? Like, let's not fucking. You get to a certain point in life, like
Yeah, well, definitely
I
not
imagine
fun.
if my parents are like fucking 60 and they're still like failing at their job. I'm like, guys, please, like,
Time to pack it up.
you both work at the mall. Like, let's finish up here, guys.
Nothing against people who work at the mall, but yeah.
If that's not what you're happy with, please stop. Like,
That's true.
that's enough failure.
At least you're
guys.
failing at the things you want to do,
Yeah.
rather than failing at the things.
Someone else wanted you to do.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Because then at least and of course, I'm sure you're taking in each failure in stride, and it's building your process up to your goal, which would be success, whatever that you define that to be. And I think that matters more, because I don't think anybody really gets it right the first time or the third time.
Maybe sometimes.
Oh,
Yeah.
you just said, right? Where you were like, oh, what you define success to be, then Reese, at least as of right now or in its immediacy, what do you define success as right now? Like, if there's something that you're working towards that you're like, okay, if this is it, I would consider myself successful. If
That's
I
a
do
good
this,
question.
whatever.
In general, I guess it would be just financial stability. But if you're talking about my YouTube channel or something,
Anything,
like,
any of
yeah,
it.
it'd be a little different probably. I don't know. That I enjoy doing the channel without even making any money with that.
Yeah.
I love doing that. I think why I love it is because it's always challenging me to be better and make better content and stuff. Success with that, I don't know. It's hard because I just love doing it. I think it's already, to me, successful because I'm so proud of the work that I'm putting into it. And every single one, I always tell my friends, oh, this one's better than the last. Oh, this one's better than the last. And I keep noticing, I keep saying that.
Yeah.
And it's nice. I just feel fulfilled already. And I think with that one, the success there is the fulfillment in my craft. In general, though, yeah, I would just like to be financially stable,
God.
and even beyond that, like, so I can just not even support just myself and Ariel or my family. I'd love to just fucking ball out on all my friends. That would be
Enjoy money.
the success that I actually.
Bro,
I
let
want
me-
to just be, fuck you, rich.
No,
You know?
it's not all it's cracked up to be. Okay, today, right?
Oh, being fuck you, rich.
Today.
Tell us, Matt.
Yeah, tell
No,
us.
fucking today, right? I was like, hey, I was just telling everybody, like, oh, I'm about to take my parents out to eat. Like, we're gonna go eat at the dry noodle spot, and then. So I like obviously I'm showing my parents like these nice restaurants, and I enjoy showing them new places to eat and stuff like that. It's fun to like I'm like wow, because they're hard to pick for, you know. So if I find a place, like it's a point of pride, like holy shit, I found something that I really like that they'll go back for, and they'll go outside of their small bubble. Like these are just old
true,
Asian
that's
people,
true.
you know. So it's a point of pride as I find it. So I'm taking them to this dry noodle spot. I know they're gonna love, knowing that I'm gonna take my parents and that I'm gonna treat my parents out. 4 other motherfuckers also joined us for lunch. and then so we're all eating, we're all hanging out, like, oh, it's great, we're all having lunch together. Matt's parents are there, and this is like like we sat at 2 separate tables because like the restaurant's really small. Regardless, like when the check comes, wow, it's one check. One check. We didn't even, and he was there today, by the way. We didn't even sit
Thanks
together.
so much, Matt.
yeah. We didn't even fucking sit together. It was just me and my parents at one table, and then the rest of the 4 at a separate table. But somehow, same check.
Just went to you.
Same check. Yeah.
Something
You
So,
smell the
from
money. That's why.
yeah, bro. So
It's not all that.
it's not what's cracked up to be, man. What then for
Thanks
you?
for putting down my dreams.
You're stupid. Yeah. Try again.
Idiot.
All right, then, Pete. So right now, in its immediacy, or some things that are very, like recent, well, what would you define success as?
I think for me, success would be like a positive impact at scale. I think that's what it would be. You know, having a positive impact on people that are not within my circle.
Yeah,
I think that would be what I would deem as success.
Who's
'Cause,
not in your circle? Like a friend of a friend that lives in LA, or like who's
like
not in your
someone
circle?
who's not even connected to me by friends.
Like Texas, remember? They're like, hey, I fuck with Feel Good.
yeah. Things like that.
That was crazy.
You know, I think that's really cool because I think if it's within my circle or close enough, we're close enough in proximity that I could help you directly, right? But there's so many other people out there, you know, and I think also if you're within proximity of me, typically you have very similar resources, so it's like it's not that crazy that you get the help that you seek, you know.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people out there who don't have that. And I think about, I've always thought about people, when I was a kid, I was a very nerdy ass kid, right? And
Kid? Just kid?
Rich coming from you, geek.
Hey, bro, I'm proud of it. You're the one that's trying to outgrow it.
Hey. But I've always been one to like always be friends with the nerdy kids who are more like the outsiders, no matter, even though I was friends with like the cool kids too. And I just saw them as both people, but I saw the nerdy kid more as like the kid without the resources, right? They didn't have the friends to talk to, they didn't have the confidence, stuff like that. And I always think about those people because growing up with it and also seeing the people who struggle the most are the people who are usually the most alone, right? Don't get me wrong, I'm sure people who are vastly popular still struggle with that, but it's less likely. And I think to me, like, kids who don't have the resources, and I always think about kids because they're usually the people that it's easiest to help just because they're more malleable versus like an adult who's more set in their ways, But I think that's what I would deem as like success. And that's part of the reason why we started the podcast. You know what I mean? Was, I talked about a lot of the topics within friend groups, and that was easy. Not easy. It was like hard, but at the same time, it was easy to reach out to them because, like, I have their number. I could give them a call or text whenever. But to impact people outside of it is, and at scale too, because like numbers wise, that's really important.
Yeah,
like the more
especially-
people you impact, it's like
Or like the people that you interview and stuff like that, it gives you easily,
Yeah.
like, exponentially expands your audience when you're
Yeah.
like interviewing people with freaking thousands of followers on IG and shit.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that helps a lot, and weirdly enough, that does help. And just to kind of go off on a tangent, like the ones that help the most are the ones that's the most genuine. It's not even the ones actually with the most followers typically don't even do like super great. weirdly enough. It's always the one that's like has that really genuine moment that's very relatable to some kid out there who feels like they're alone, and for whatever reason, because they feel like that resonates with them, that it impacts them. You know, and this is not, again, it goes back to what I was saying about energy. It doesn't have so much to do with me, because a lot of times the impactful moments come from the guests.
Yeah.
You know, this is just a platform. Yeah. So I don't give a fuck if it's coming from my words or the person coming onto the podcast. Just whatever ways it helps someone out there, like that's really, to me, success. You know, because like the other shit is like, yeah, I've made money and I'm like, you know, I mean, it doesn't really make me too much happier. But I've always found a lot of like fulfillment in helping others. Yeah. Even when I was young, you know, I just never understood it. Why I would go to this kid who was like by himself and I'd be like, oh, you know, talk about like video games and shit and just like hang out with them, like be like, we're friends, you know, like you're not here by yourself.
It's worked out for you so far, at least.
I mean, yeah,
In some
kind of.
ways.
Yeah, it is cool because, like, you know, obviously I do events and stuff like that, and the people who come to my events are from fucking everywhere. You know what I mean? You have the fucking gamers who never go out. You have the people with the party people. You have people who go out
That's
from anywhere,
true.
and that's really what's about. Like, I don't want to be in like I don't want it to be cliquey. You know, it's really cool that everyone can get along in one like circle and like build friendships within that. And not really look at like, oh, this person is this person is that. Doesn't really matter.
I've definitely seen that with your guys' friend group in general. Like it's not clicky when I met you guys like what, like 6 or more years ago.
Yeah.
It just felt like I was meeting old friends that I just met.
Yeah.
It's tight, and you clearly still facilitate that same kind of environment regardless of the setting. It's the podcast, it's the stream, it's the Smash tournaments, you know. It's nice to see that. I mean, Filipinos be clicky, bro. I'm just saying.
I see that. I just want to really be about it, you know, and everything that I do. Like that's really, I'm a very like inclusive person. So
yeah, that's nice. I mean, cliques is very common, regardless of ethnicity, and I think that's why you guys have such quite fiercely loyal like subculture here. Because I mean, when you made those fucking hats, bro, they sold out so quick.
Yeah,
and then not even just here, but like Rydra's in Texas, and somebody's like, that hat's tight. I know it feel good.
Yeah,
Australia, wherever the fuck, you know.
Yeah, that feels awesome because the person doesn't even know who the fuck I am. You know what I mean? It has nothing.
No,
to
you
do.
didn't know who he was. That's
I didn't too,
Oh, no.
but you know what I mean? Like,
not the drunk me, like, what up, big dog? Cheers to fucking getting those successes in the future, guys.
yes, sir.
But now or later. Fuck it.
All right, guys, welcome back to Lightning Round, where we ask our guests rapid fire questions. If they can't answer,
Is
they
it
gotta
welcome
take
back
a
to
sip.
Lightning Round or is it welcome to Lightning Round?
Who cares?
Mario, this should be you doing this right now.
Yeah, I'm
It's
doing your
fault.
job for you. All right, here we go. All right, Matt, what is your least favorite thing about Boston right now?
Least favorite thing about Boston, the fucking weather. It's cold as dick. I'm from California. It's supposed to be, the world is built so that you should be 60 to 70, 365 days a year.
All right, what is your favorite food?
Oh, favorite food. Top 3 is probably easier, I think. 3 is Viet, Japanese, and Korean.
Oh,
Like
okay.
Viet's obvious. You got your day
Is
to
it?
day.
No, just
Like you grew up. Yeah.
Unless you're white.
Stupid. Then you got your day to day, like your the food you grew up with. Japanese is really good because it gives you both the high and the low end. Also, it's just objectively good, right? So you can get the most expensive shit in Japan, the most like high end cuisine, and then you can also hit that bottom tier as well. That everyday cheap,
Cup of noodles.
yeah, inexpensive 7-Eleven food, dude. Like a 7-Eleven fried
Oh,
chicken.
in Japan? Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I heard the 7-Eleven
Fire.
is fucking
Oh, dude,
fire.
it's
Dummy,
yeah.
dude.
Oh,
And then Korean is just like it could have been anything. Oh no, I would actually switch out for Mexican. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mexican. That's easy.
Classic.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, that's like literally my people. I'm literally
Oh,
Mexican.
really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. And when is the last time you did something for the first time?
Last time I did something for the first time.
Shout out Drake.
Yeah, we
bit-
Ah,
Hee.
do I have to answer too?
Yeah, you suck. Man.
Moving to Boston was probably the
I mean,
most
that's
obvious
like
one.
So. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll just stick with Boston.
Moving to
Moving to
Boston.
Boston. That shit was.
I mean, that's a
shit was-
big one.
It's. I mean, it's. It was both tough and not tough.
Yeah.
honestly, it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah,
That is
could
interesting.
be tough for some, but
Yeah.
I'm tougher.
Okay, what was the toughest part then being a transplant?
Oh, dude, finding an apartment sucks.
Oh, really?
Ass.
Oh,
God,
wow.
it's like a miserable process, especially with 3-week timeline of 3 weeks from the second
yeah.
you hung up the phone and said yes. You have to get the apartment without getting a chance to like look at it. You know?
Yeah.
And they pop up and close so quickly that just from the pictures alone, you need to suss out like, okay, this is a good apartment. This is what I want. I think it's good. And then a lot of the times too, it's like, you do some where it's like, hey, can I have a picture of the actual apartment? Because the listing will have pictures of just like their generic, like, oh, this is, you know, what we have out here, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
This is the sort of standard. But then you actually ask for the picture of the actual apartment, and then the generic one is the renovated one.
Yeah.
And the one that they have up for listing is like the old dilapidated one. You're like, bro, please.
Yeah.
This shit is nasty. You know?
Yeah.
Like unsalvageable. Like many things in life,
Yeah.
you know, cannot be saved.
Okay, good. All right, that's good.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't like making friends or something.
Oh no, like
That's
I said,
good.
dude,
Yeah.
when you have just the one, that's all you need. You're like,
Yep.
I
Yeah.
can't imagine like if I didn't have those ones, but you just get the one and you just like you branch out from there and you
Yeah.
figure it out. Thank God too, because like imagine if I didn't have those one, I'm thinking about like I would like look for work for friends. Oh God, I hate that.
Yeah, and it's hard to be friends with your workers because you're already hitting on all your coworkers.
Yeah. Like it's like you can't be friends with them and then also hit on the interns. Like
Yeah.
it just doesn't the math doesn't work out.
Not with that
way, you know?
attitude.
Yeah, it's just like it's tough, you know?
Yeah. All right.
So-
Last question. This one's for Pete. When are you coming back home?
I definitely did not come up to that.
It's for me.
Oh, Peter. I knew you felt that way. When am I coming back home? Whenever you have space in your heart and your room for me, I'll come back home. And you let me
Looks
know.
like you're staying in Boston.
Luckily, my apartment's kind of nice. I can live there. I can wait you out. I'll wait
I
you
can
out.
wait you out.
I don't think so.
Okay.
All right.
Wait, last one. What do you
I
think's gonna happen first? He comes back home or he gets a girl?
Oh.
He's come back
Never
home
mind,
like,
that was too easy.
No.
he's come home.
Move back home.
He's come back home like 8 times in the past 2 years.
No, I mean,
holidays.
I meant
It's the
move back.
holidays. It's,
Yeah.
you know, of course I'm gonna come
By
back.
come back home, I meant actually like move back home. That's what I meant.
Are you asking me? Or are you
No,
asking
no,
him?
no. I'm just clarifying. All right, that's all for me.
All right.
All right, asking you then. I'm curious to hear your answer. Do you think I'll move back home first, or like get into like whatever dating relationship, whatever it is first, like a serious relationship?
Oh,
or-
serious relationship? Dating.
Oh.
Dating is, I don't really count.
Oh, I mean, like I don't know. There's like serious dating, but not boyfriend girlfriend. Yeah, you know what I mean? Just like a committed.
I'll say committed.
relationship.
Yeah,
just like a
committed.
committed relationship then.
It's most likely you move back home first. Yeah. I'm just looking at your track record. It ain't too great.
Yeah, shit ain't sweet, man.
And he's a betting man too.
yeah.
I really don't like these odds though. You know?
I do love an underdog story though, so you know.
Describe your type.
Type.
Oh,
that's so
nice.
fucked. Hey, not off the record.
Not off the record.
No, wait, off the record.
Okay.
No. Dude, number one, I hate to say it, like pretty. Like that's one, right?
Oh.
2, sense of humor. 3, one that I've been kind of cultivating recently that I've really enjoyed is like, dang, when they like dress really well, that shit is so attractive. And then just like throwing a fit that you have no fucking clue how that works, and they're wearing it like that, like damn, that shit is
All
fire.
right. Now I don't know if it's just me, but those sounded like everybody's.
Yeah.
I thought you were
He's
gonna
like-
go with some mind blowing
Yeah.
shit.
Oh, no.
He's
okay.
like, one, pretty? I'm like, damn, you're into ugly
Sis,
bitches? Like, what the fuck?
Well, I mean, that's not even like. That's like that could be like as in that could be indicative of like, damn, he kind of skews towards like being sort of vain.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I mean. You know
I
what I
see.
mean? I hate to say it on a little.
That's why you said off the
vain
record.
and superficial.
So what are you
That's
going to say on the record?
Oh, that's on the record. Fuck. It's I hate to say it. Like that's the. I don't enjoy that, but you know, and there's a whole.
But that's
like,
tight.
there's a whole history to it too. But anyway, like it's. But yeah,
Pretty, sense of humor, and
dude, sense of
style.
humor,
Yeah.
It's gotta be and style. I would say. Or dude, imagine too, like sense of humor is a big one too. It's like not even necessarily that you have to be like a person, but just our own sense of humor needs to vibe.
Right.
We can
Oh,
laugh
yeah,
at
yeah, yeah.
jokes. Like, dude, imagine like you go somewhere to eat and then you're just like kind of like, oh, what do you want? Like, oh, I guess it's whatever. You know, we can eat whatever. Or like, what do you want to order? Like, you don't even have your own sort of
Individuality.
or you just don't know what you like, or you can you meet somebody that's just really blasé.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine like.
That's true.
And there are a lot of people that are just very like, and they're very sort of agreeable and really nice people. But then you just imagine like it just feels like your back is tired because you're carrying conversation,
Yeah.
or it just seems like what the fuck do I talk to you about?
Yes,
Except the one
yeah.
thing like, and even like with there's some like guy friends that you've had where it's like, damn, all I know that we have like in common is like fucking sports, and I'm not even like super into it, and I'm gonna try to go for it, but then it's just like it never, as much as we hang out, it just never goes beyond that.
Damn.
And then it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
man. And so imagine if like you were dating that guy, dude. It's like sounds exponentially
Yeah.
worse, you know. So it does have that does have a lot of bearing, I would say. For
My
sure.
my ex was like that.
Mhm.
Sorry
Oh,
to put
really?
it on blast, but like, bro, I was like, I don't know what to do, and I was like, why don't we watch The Office? I like picked something that was long. It was like 9 seasons.
Yeah.
As we're approaching the 8th season, I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do after this.
Damn.
So I said when we finished, I was like,
Let's
"You
watch
wanna
Game of
re-wa-"
Thrones.
No, I was like, you want to rewatch The Office?
Oh,
And this
Jesus
was all in the
Christ.
same day.
No, yeah, that's true. Like, sense of humor is not. It doesn't even have to be indicative of like making me laugh. It's actually about you have your own. You are your own person and stuff, and you have your own opinions and your own thoughts, and we can share it in a way where we feel like it's engaging and fulfilling.
Oh, I was saying, like, imagine if they have like little kind of like quirky, weird, neurotic shit about them. God, that actually like, damn, you fucking. Oh, the other day we were eating like kaju, and then I ate all of the galbi, and I put little bones.
Oh, yeah, I
Just,
saw
like, in
that,
the
I
bone,
saw
and
that,
was
yeah.
like, yeah, that's like some serial killer shit. If like I would date a girl that also did that, I'd be like, oh, you the one. This is it. You line them up like dead bodies, just like I do. Oh,
I do that with shrimp heads. I line them
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone does that. They do it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, dude, that's. All right, no, that's kind of crazy. That's,
Yeah, dude. Thought I was unique and quirky.
Unique and quirky.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Pete.
Okay. What's the least confident part of you?
Oh, for sure, easy. The whole like inexperience with dating, and it's not least confident in that like I'm super insecure per se, like as in like it's just like it's holding me back, but just knowing that I'm so like bad at it and I keep learning, and it's just like remember how we were talking about like all sort of like good things like relationship, for example, inherently have that piece of embarrassment or that risk to it that you have to expose yourself. So imagine doing something where you're like constantly exposing yourself, right? It's like way skewed, like more than usual, more than most people would be sort of exposed to, that sort of like exposure and that vulnerability. And then the thing is like if it's something that you want to work on and that you're trying to do like work towards getting better, then that means that you're even more so are going to have to face
I was
that
gonna
thing. So I'm always
disagree.
like,
Yeah, I was gonna say you're not confident in that. The fact that you're doing it and continually doing it and trying to improve on it, it takes confidence to do that, because it's easier to just be like, I'm just not gonna do it, because that is the easier thing to do, right? Especially because it's so hard.
Could be the least confident part of him, though.
yeah,
Like, not
that's,
saying that he's not confident, but the least.
yeah, and that's just like that's also that would be
I see.
that is not even within
I don't see.
my, like the idea of like not trying to do something does not even exist. That idea doesn't even exist in my zeitgeist whatsoever.
Effortful right
that's
here.
not even so it's just you suck ass at it and you're always embarrassing yourself all the time, and you find yourself getting carried away or getting led on or whatever, and then you're just like, oh, no, I get it now. That's how it's supposed to be. Like, oh, that was my mistake. Like, all right, all good. Fuck it. But it's like, damn, bro, I'm embarrassed all the time. Like, taking off my pants in fucking slippers all the time. You know what I mean?
What was the
Christ.
distinction you were saying between what I said, like the least confident and
So least confident and unconfident. So like unconfidence, like you actually don't believe in it. Least confidence, like you're confident in everything else. This just happens to be like
Oh, the
weakest
least one.
link.
Oh, but it's
Yeah.
still. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Makes sense
Yeah.
now?
That's a good point. Yeah.
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 Because I was like, I don't think he's doing anything with no confidence.
No.
But that's a good distinction. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna throw you a bone
All right.
because for any viewers watching
He's
this
like,
all the way
finally.
through, they might be, there's might be a small little bit of interest in you. So why should someone date you?
Yeah, he coming with it. I just say, what's your favorite food?
It goes back to like
What color is this guy?
What color is this guy? Thank God something I can answer.
Why should someone date
Orange
you?
on a good day. No, all right. Why should someone date? It was the same answer as like the very beginning that I was saying when we were going through my resume. It's honestly, if you were to be with me, I would help you become the happiest, best version of yourself. And it's both. Like you could be both happy in the relationship as well as being happy with the person that you are individually. Like I understand that both are very important. And it's as simple as that, right? Like relatively as simple as that. Like I definitely put in a lot of thought and consideration into all of the sort of elements that play into making you happy in the relationship or making you happy as your own person. But I don't like to speak in absolutes, but
yeah.
I can guarantee you like that's going to happen to some extent, at least to some extent. Like you will be the happiest, like best version of yourself, like with me.
Okay.
That's
What
it.
it sounds like to me too is the only red flags you'll see is in the dating phase.
Yeah.
The relationship phase is all green. Bro.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I got
but that's,
you.
Again, that's all.
I got you.
But that's the honestly, that's like the fun in it, right? It's the learning. Like, wow, you have something that you've been ignoring for 31 years that you've been ignoring, and you're so terrible at dating, and it's like you've almost to the point where it's like you're getting sick of it. Like Peter understands too, where I express like my frustration and like, fuck, I'm like, bro, this dating thing I gotta really work on, but then never end up working on it because again, like you're just there to just hang out, and inevitably you just hang out with your friends, your family, and you work on those sort of relationships instead. But then finally, you're out there, and I didn't even think about like this is what was gonna happen. That this would be a consequence of moving away. I just literally thought like, you get me the phone call, offer's good, 3 weeks, all right, let's do it. But I have found a way to enjoy like moving out and getting something out of it, something that's also like not just like trivial, something very important, something I really want to work on. And it's just part of the fun. And when like that's why it's like people ask like, oh, do you like moving to Boston or whatever? I'm like, genuinely, yeah. And I know it seems hard to sort of like see that it's the truth, but I truly am having fun. And it's not to detract from the fact that it's not like I don't fucking love home to death.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Hey.
not one or the other.
Damn, that was good. All right, Matt, this is your chance.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you rhythm up. Go ahead.
All right. Hi, my name's Matt. Please, begging you, if there's an ounce of kindness in your body for $1 a day, you can
UNICEF.
you could save me from this fucking hellscape.
Please.
That is being single in 2023.
All right. Last question. Easy question too.
Here we go.
What is the most Gen Z thing about you?
Gen Z,
Oh.
bro, I fucking try to emulate how they dress so much. I love it, dude. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm been mind washed by TikTok, but bro, man, I love the way that they have such irreverent fits. Like it's not about like I don't know how you pull together the most random pieces of clothing and make it look good. And it's like, what the fuck? You match this with that and this with that. I'll never get it, but somehow I am also at the same time the biggest fucking fan of that, man.
All right, guys, that concludes our lightning round. I want to say thank you to our special guest, Matt. Boston Matt. Tell us where we can find you.
Mega Matt. I got to.
I haven't been in Boston that long yet. You can find me in the greater New York area.
Good luck.
I guess more colloquially known as Boston.
Yes, yeah.
but
That's not too well known.
I just want to say thank you for coming on because man, hopefully you get some hits from this because otherwise it'd be a waste of time.
Yeah, I know, right?
Thank you guys for watching all the way through. Make sure you hit this guy up because he's fucking lonely out in Boston.
World's longest Hinge profile.
For real, for real. And make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you guys tell us what you guys want us to talk about next. And remember, live fast, eat ass.